Same ones that hurt you. Same ones that hurt you. Same ones you hurt. So it's a cycle. My hand reaching out, dap to grab it for somebody. Seventh dimension swamp, living around the fire, dancing 10. Out the anthem of a militant party. Chaotic, melodic, nomadic, my mind like a shoddy. Hardly anybody wanted hypnotic beyond your logic. Follow me quick with a pack of lines inside me. Inside the Maiybe you can find me. Fucking up any nigga that want for try me. Righteous but known to be grimy. Follow me deep to meditation. Above all confrontation. Spirit rising to eat. Surrounded by lovers of the beast. My treasure is hitting. Got a pleasure for pain. Resurrecting myself while on this plane lane. So easy to suffer. Suffer. But so hard is my game. Out with a girl and goblin and jaw dropping. Dice rolling, finger popping, club popping, emulating, jaw charging. Babylon watching like me on stage. Got y'all sleeping in the days, easily amazed. Call me crazy when I break off the chains from my mental. So I can ring like the king do, no accidental. Bless Bill, now you're free at last. Try to outlast the last.
John Miller, what's good, what's good?
Blast, outlast the past, worship cash, all your life.
Peace to the God, peace to the God.
Down the block and grab your bag. You can tell no allegiance I ever have. Won't salute they flag up for who follow the track. Crab niggas step
Big up. Diallo in the building. What's going on, y'all? See the crew showing up. Everybody a few minutes to show their face.
720, dimensional weapon, still I suffer by the hands of the ones that say they love me. Still I suffer by the hands of the ones that say they love me. Still I suffer by the hands of the ones that say they love me. Still I pain and pleasure the same. Leave irreversible claim. Need to watch what you say, cause an impression of what you make immeasurable change.
Alright, let's try to get this camera set up. Alright, so what's good, everybody? What I'm gonna do. I'm going to give everybody a chance to get in the building, and then I'm going to introduce the special guest. And so, you know, I'm just kind of letting everybody get here. Going through all the technical stuff that I have to deal with. Computer stuff. Keep one of Triggs in the building. What's good? How are you? Okay. All right. So let me make sure this thing is on point like it's supposed to be. I have a special topic for you tonight. Okay, let me add this one right here. Big up. Greta in the building. What's good? How you doing, family? So we got a few minutes. You know, in the beginning we kind of start off slow or whatever, just to give a few people a chance so we don't have to do too much repeating. Peace to the God. What's good, Brother Shakeem? How was the week? We're going to be talking about the automatic trance state. The automatic trance state. The trance frequencies. Activated triggers. Just giving a couple of minutes just to let people walk in the building. Probably started right around 9. Okay. All right, so sit back, get your pen and pad. You're gonna need it. You're gonna need to have, if you have an audio recording or recording device. Okay, I'll start in a minute. if you have an audio recording device, you know, a tape recorder, something, a pen and a pad, you're gonna need it. So you want to write it down. You want to ingest. You want to get your pen is like your fork, and your paper is like your plate. So you want to take this information and you want to eat the information because it's gonna be getting spit rapid fire. All right. So make sure you're paying real close attention. You know. Okay, so we're talking about the automatic trance state. So what's going on here is that you understand, first of all, what is a trance? A trance is the zone, when you're in the zone. And there are a couple of things that take you into a trance. And there's a trance that actually exists most of the time, but there are certain things that take you into the zone. I'm going to go into that at the end or towards later on in the cipher. I want to introduce the guest speaker, who is highly motivated to do this metaphysical thing. He's an expert, someone who is a former instructor at the Metaphysical Institute in Huntsville. He's instructed at different places and held a whole lot of different workshops, and is a master metaphysician as far as the alchemy process and tying everything together. So, Diallo C, the brethren, Diallo C, I'm gonna bring him in. We're gonna chop it up. Peace, God.
Hey, how you doing? Peace.
Yes. Okay, so we're gonna go ahead and just get it started with what we have going on right now. So I'm gonna let you take the floor, and then I'm gonna add in what I have as we go.
Okay, no, I appreciate that, and thank you guys for having me on. One of the things, and we were touching on the automatic. Yeah, I see Fred Waller's in the building.
What's good, fam?
We were touching on, or the main subject, I guess, is the automatic trance state. And a lot of people, especially in their adult years, are really not aware of this, because what happens when you're younger and you're going through your schooling is you're taught that daydreaming is wrong. You should be on point, paying attention and consciously focused all the time. What they don't tell you in society is some of the founders of all advancement in society are vivid daydreamers. You can go down the list of them in all branches of occupation. Anybody from Nikola Tesla, who's pretty much, they give him credit as the founding father of all modern technology as we know it when it comes to electricity, when it comes to everything from remote control to breakthroughs in light, electricity in the homes and stuff like that. And at one point, he stated, and his co-workers, or the scientists working around him, stated that they couldn't tell when he was daydreaming or when he was sleeping. And a lot of his breakthroughs that to this day are being held up as the greatest.
It cut your voice off.
Okay. No, that's cool. But yeah, what I was saying about Nikola Tesla is not only was he responsible for some of the founding breakthroughs scientifically in the modern age, but a lot of people don't know that he never really wrote down anything until he worked it all out in his head. That means he was working out, all this machinery and the intricate parts of the machinery in his mind visually. He was so deep in his daydream or his trance state. When Einstein discovered the theory of relativity, he was literally daydreaming that he was on a lightning bolt. People don't know that. And you can keep going down. You talked about going into the zone. Michael Jordan describes the zone as the void, but he said that it's not a place where he doesn't think as necessarily as his mind is so open and he's so much into what he does that he goes into a trance state and he just becomes instead of thinking about it. And the reason why this is, this goes back deeper than just you being told by your parents and people in school not to daydream. This actually goes back to a fundamental principle, unfortunately, of the conquering cultures that demonize the mind state of the high receptive feminine mind state. And that demonization comes through the oppression or the suppression of the goddess principle. So right away, if you go into any indigenous type of thought or mind state, the trance state and going into the trance state is intricately tied, and we also call it hypnosis, to the feminine goddess, the highest goddess, which is, of course, known to the West Africans as Yemaya, known to the Egyptians as Aset. She is the beginning or the doorway for the trance state. So a lot of times that would be considered as threatening to groups of people who view that as you're out of control of your conscious mind. And this time and time again, Carl Jung touched upon this as well. And he called it man modernizing. Carl Jung was one of the founding fathers of psychology. He was really a contemporary of Freud. And him and Freud parted ways because Carl Jung became more metaphysical in his philosophies and outlook. And what happened with Carl Jung is Carl Jung said man modernized. He became better at problem solving, but he lost touch of his bush soul, is what he called it. And indigenous people have that. You can even go into the Bible. I don't like doing it much, but you can go into the Bible and see that one of the founding principles of the ancient Israelites were interpreting dreams. Joseph did it for the Pharaoh, and time again, Daniel did it for Nebuchadnezzar, and they were dream interpreters. So what you're dealing with when you deal with the Yemaya energy, anybody doesn't know who Yemaya is, she is a set. She's her title in Egypt, the Greeks called her Isis. The Egyptians knew her as Aset, or the Kemet people, the people of Kemet. And one of her titles was Mata Morai. All right. So Mata Morai loosely translates to Mother Mary or Blessed, Beloved Ocean Mary. And one thing that people have to realize, the reason why highly intelligent people go back into the trance state is that you're 60 to 80% water. And Aset or Yemaya rules the moon and rules the ocean tide. Now, if anybody's had any experience with nature, you know that if you go to the ocean tide, it is hypnotic. So then you have to break down further, what does it mean when you're receptive to the ocean or the water that's within you? And what happens is you are 60 to 80% water. So your DNA structure, and a lot of people don't realize this, your DNA structure is a programming. That programming was held in place when the goddess received, and I'll go deeper into it later, Obatala, or what they call Osiris, Osor, the goddess receives the instructions. These are all symbolic teachings. And the instructions come down in the DNA, and the water preserves the instruction. She is the maintainer. She preserves the instruction in the DNA. So she is, of course, the manifester or the mother of all. And in science, you see that they don't want to admit it, but the first thing a scientist will tell you is that all life on Earth came from where? If anybody can think about it, remember basic physical science in school, all life from Earth emerged from the ocean. You know, typically they say the woman's water breaks. She gives birth. So that trance state, and people just brush it off as nothing. It's not just nothing. You'll notice that when you listen to music that you really like, it's easy to go into the trance state. What you're taking is the programming to the deeper side of Yemaya, and she's called Adjua in some parts of Africa, and Isis, Aset. You're taking it to the deeper part of your psyche, and that deeper part of your psyche is not daydreams, it's night dreams, and that's considered the bottom of the ocean, which is another aspect of her called Olokun. So what will happen to you is you'll be going out throughout your day, and you'll slip into a daydream, and you'll stop doing it because you've been taught in the past that it's wrong. Well, recently, there was a man by the name of Eric Schumacher, and he's a professor of psychology in one of these universities in Georgia. He took 100 participants. He had them all do tests, and he had them focus, and he encouraged them to daydream while they were doing the test. And they were intellectual tests and creative tests. He said the people who daydream the most got the highest scores on the test. Mm. And this goes hand in hand to what I'm talking about when they get these scientists like Isaac Newton, like Einstein, like Nikola Tesla, who were vivid daydreamers, like Michael Jordan, who admits to be a daydreamer. A lot of these people in Hollywood who have become famous will admit that they have ADHD and they're vivid daydreamers. What they do is they have an ability to go into their mind, their subconscious mind. And this is something that you can study through psychology. And they have ability to activate parts of their motivating will. The will, or the divine will that you activate, of course, most of you guys know as Sango or Heru. And of course, if you've studied any West African traditions, Sango is considered the favorite son of Yemaya, because obviously she gives birth to the will. The will comes, of course, to carry out what you have in your trance state. If you are continuing, and I'm going to warn people, it's something that I had to learn from experience in life and from bad things happening to me in life. If you daydream and you're angry about something and you continuously go over it in your mind, you will manifest that, because what's happening is you are programming the deeper part of your psyche into it. It's not the thing that you say to yourself with no emotional charge. You got to realize energy, emotion, water, the ocean, the 60% water. It's not what you say to yourself with no emotional charge. I'm going to do better at work today. I'm going to spend more time with my kids today. It's what you say and you have an emotional charge attached to it. So when you keep daydreaming, angry that somebody said something to you the wrong way, that people have hurt your feelings, that maybe, something's going on in your life, relationship-wise, domestically, or whatever's going on, you are recreating your deeper subconscious mind, which is Olokun, which is the bottom of the ocean.
Which is that
and
dream.
That bottom of the ocean.
That dream state at night.
Yes. And it goes even further than that. I'm going to take it one step further. What happens is, and they know this, the majority of your DNA is made of electromagnetic energy. They don't tell you. It's not just about protein synthesis. And what happens is not only that, but they now have done studies where they show that people's fears and phobias are passed on into a second generation. Because the second part of Yemaya is not just emotion. What people don't realize is that we, and just like every other creature, we have instincts. And the subconscious mind is the most powerful part of your psyche. It feeds your willpower because it's where your instincts lie. And human beings, the reason why we're blessed with the Ori, is what they call it, the Okra, the power within, is we have an ability to adapt our instincts to any given environment. So when you dwell upon anger, and there's nothing wrong with anger if it's placed in the right way, but when you dwell upon anger and negativity, you're passing that into your DNA and passing it that down into your children. You're giving that over to your children. And all you got to do is look at the way certain people sing music in certain parts of the country where there was a lot of slavery. And I'm not downing on that, because gospel music is a beautiful thing, especially since that music and dance is for spirit possession. And there's nothing wrong with, and when I say spirit, that's just a primitive word of saying consciousness possession. The consciousness is fractal in nature. When I get up to North Carolina, I will address that in graphic detail. People have to realize that when you daydream, when you hear music and you go into a daydream, you're electromagnetically entering into a taurine, I think they call it a taurine field. That taurine field is all the DNA is really made of. When they break stuff down to the smallest subatomic particle, when they break stuff down to the smallest particle, it's really not a particle they find. What they find is a vibration packet of a field. So when you listen to music, music goes straight into the DNA, goes past into the subconscious mind. You're more likely to go into a trance state, and you take what that music is saying into your very matrix. And that becomes a part of who you are, and then you pass it on into your offspring. And this was known all around the world. They would say stuff like, in the beginning was the Word, or the Logos, and the Word was with God, and the Word became flesh. So and they knew this. They ripped it off from other cultures. This is not something that and I'm not trying to be offensive to the Judeo-Christian, but this is not something that they got from their culture. It's something that they passed on and they took and they synthesized, and they know it's true. So I'm not telling people don't listen to, good rap music or R&B. What I'm telling people is you need to be aware that every day your R complex in your brain is being saturated with messages. And if you really want to get down to what it is, all you got to do is look on the Pharaoh's crown, and you'll see the serpent, and you'll see, of course, the vulture. The serpent represents the Wachet. Wachet is Oya. That Wachet, that serpent complex that you have in your brain, is the high power of the river that flows frequently, fast. It's actually in pop culture, it was ripped off, and she's called Storm in the X-Men. All right, that serpent that you have down there, that R complex, that instinct that keeps you alive, that the Indian people call Kundalini, that comes up from the spine and is in the stem of the brain, that is fed directly by impulse. All right, those impulses lead you to survive in this world. They make you strong. They give the lion the fangs. They give the eagle the feathers. And of course, they bring it back to that serpent power. The first thing that you'll realize is they demonize the serpent power. You go to Genesis. In Genesis, they demonize the serpent power because they hate the woman. The serpent was given into the woman first. It's like Oya brings the serpent, or the eye of Wachet, to Horus. The eye of Wachet, just like Shakti brings up Kundalini to the third eye of Shiva. It's a symbolic story. The first thing you'll notice, you can go into your Bible tonight, is the serpent goes to the woman first and tells the woman, Yahweh does not want you to eat of the fruit of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. Yahweh does not want you to become like the Bena Elohim. Bena means sons and daughters. E or El is God, masculine, singular. Elo is God, plural. Him is a feminine derivative. So the serpent literally said to her, the reason why God, or Yahweh, the dark God, does not want you to eat of the fruit of the tree is he does not want your mind open to contrast good and evil. If you do that, you will become like the gods and goddesses. Once the woman took the fruit, you notice that she has to take the fruit to her husband. Her and her husband eat the fruit and their eyes are open. And then you go down into the third verse. You can go read this tonight. And Yahweh says, behold, the man and woman have become like us, like the gods, like the Bena Elohim, the gods and the goddesses. And in West Africa, you guys got to forgive me. In West Africa, you actually have to say goddess first, then God. That's why when they said amen, and I'm skipping ahead of myself, they don't say amen, they say amenet raet, and then they say amen. Because you have to say the female first because she's the one who brings the manifestation of life in. She upholds the will. She's the maintainer. Her husband is the regulator. They uphold the will of the Almighty. And this is you can always see this ocean principle of trance and the upholding of the will. You can see it in the Kabbalah. The heavenly ocean in the Kabbalah is called Binah. You can go look that up. But as I stated again, the man and woman became like us. This was a ripped off story that the supposed Hebrews took because they were not initiated in the higher mysteries of what the serpent with the wings was. And you go down into Egypt, and when they draw the hieroglyph, they draw the hieroglyph in Egypt of what a god or a goddess is. They always put a serpent on her wings. All you got to do is go down to the hospital. All you got to do is go down to the ambulance. All you got to do is go down to the medical field, and they'll have that caduceus there, and they'll never explain what it is. It's the ability to see light and darkness, the conception of reception and activity. The receptive side, which is water, and they've studied water in many scientific studies, and they find that water has over 100,000 memory receptors. If you go look up the Jewish Hebrew letter, it's called mem or mom. That's where we get the word mom from. To be the mother is to remember. If you ever have any dealings with women, you'll realize that women remember everything. The feminine signs in the zodiac remember everything. One of the most intense crystallizing signs is Scorpio. They remember. They remember everything you did to them. Cancer is another sign. They remember everything. And then we can switch over. You can switch over from there, and you can see how Pisces not only remembers everything, but Pisces wants to escape it because it remembers and it's trying to get it's either trying to make you swim down or swim up away from it, depending on what it is. But this trance state is something that when you're dealing with your children, you have to realize when you have a child who's a vivid daydreamer, they're in touch with the spirit world. And what's being done is they're being suppressed. They're being attacked. They're being told, and I'll take it one step further. A NASA scientist did a study with children and found out that 98% of children are born creative geniuses. And what happens to them when they get put into our school system is they are demonized for their daydreaming ability. And when they're demonized for their daydreaming ability, the power is stripped away from them. And you'll see this time and time again. All the great ancient teachers would say, for you to enter into the kingdom of heaven, you must have the mind of a child. And they said it over and over and over again. Jesus did not come up with that. That was something that was there from way, way before he ever even said it out of his mind, if he ever even existed, because that's another thing, and that's another topic for another day. But the key point to remember is the child. If you look at children are in what? They're in a trance state.
All the time.
When they do studies on children are, yes, all the time. That's why they go after the children first. That's why they have these cartoons that dumb down the children first. If you ever watch SpongeBob, I know I'm going back, and all these other cartoons, it went from when me and Timo, I got to tell on our age, when we were young, they wanted everybody to be militarized. They wanted everybody to be into the military. So everything was Transformers, G.I. Joe, He-Man, Thundercats. As the military-industrial complex got as big as they needed it, then they said we need a dumb population because we are coming into the age of Aquarius, which is the return of Heru. And it's not just the age of Aquarius, it's the age of Aquarius Leo, or Teth, the lion serpent. The lion serpent, the son of man who returns as the lion serpent, returns because for the first time, the will is in conjunction with the instincts. So rather than just being a crazy animal, you are a high adept. You become adept. You can go into your trance dream state. You can program your instincts to do anything. If anybody knows anything about animals, animals evolve to every environment. They have to. That's why reptiles will go and sprout wings and become birds. That's why lions and tigers have, crazy sense of smell like dogs do. They develop strength that's unheard of, unhumanly. So what happens is we've been suppressed from going into our trance state, and we've been suppressed from being able to adapt or adept to anything we want. Human beings are superhuman beings. We have superpowers. All you have to do is go around some Haitian people who have gone into the Lao, who have felt the Lao, and they'll report that there are 70-year-old men who can climb trees and lift up horses. There are people who can fly. There are women who can pick up cars and all sorts of stuff. There's no mystery to this. It's not hocus pocus. It's the ability to take the trance state and go deep into your DNA and spark evolutionary, instinctual evolution. And this is being suppressed by not only the religious people, it's being suppressed by the scientific community, the Western European scientific community. And I'm not demonizing European people, because all you got to do is look into the Celtic cultures in Ireland and Scotland, and those people lived in trees and they were wizards, and they were suppressed too. They were smoked down because they were indigenous people. And the first thing they teach you is there's a holiday, St. Patrick's Day, which they say they led all the serpents out of Ireland. There's not that many snakes in Ireland and Scotland. What they're telling you is they drove out the indigenous culture in Ireland. They suppressed the Irish people, who are Celtic people, red-headed people, ruddy people, the people of Set, the people of Awuku. And it's not just them doing it to black people, they're doing it to indigenous people worldwide. Go look at what they did to the Native American people. The Native American people who ran around and they were praising Quetzalcoatl. They were praising the firebird. They knew the truth, that the serpent came with the truth, and they shut them down. And the Masons know this stuff. That's why when you watch these Masonic movies, Star Wars and stuff like that, the first thing that they don't tell you is that Steven Spielberg and George Lucas were deep into religion and spirituality. And that if you could go into Egypt, the Jedi, which people argue was just a magician or an order, was an order that used the Force based on the Nile River. And that Force based on the Nile River was called the Serpent of the Nile. And that's why Horus When his crown is made, it's a red and white crown with a serpent and a vulture, the winged serpent. And of course, he himself is the hawk. And everybody knows, scientists will tell you that birds came from where? Birds came from reptiles. So the demonization of the woman, the demonization of indigenous culture, the demonization of the trance state, and everything that has to do with it, they make it silly. Music is silly. Dancing. I'm going to tell you this. Dancing is probably one of the most powerful ways that you can go into a trance state. When all you got to do is think about what they do when they get you into a nightclub. You go down to the nightclub, they give you alcohol, the spirit, and they call alcohol the spirits. They get you drunk off the alcohol. They play the music real loud. People start dancing, and then they start to program you with what society holds up as important: money, materialism, and sexual exploitation. What they don't tell you is all you have to do is go to West Africa. They come down. They say, Nyame warns you. Nyame warns you. Nyame being the same God as Amen-Ra. Nyame being, well, I'm sorry, I apologize. Amen. Ra is actually Nyankampon. And they'll pour alcohol onto the ground. They will pour alcohol onto the ground. They'll pour out libations. So a woman will come out, or a man who's a griot. They will start rapping about everybody in the village, and then they'll kick in the music, and everybody will dance themselves into a trance state. What do the Native Americans do? They bring out the peyote. All these things come from Earth. They smoke up the peyote or whatever herb is around, and they go into the sweat lodges, or they go out in the open. They start giving praise to their gods, and they start dancing into a trance state. Why is this? What is going on? And what they do to our society is they make that seem like foolishness. Oh, you're so foolish. You wear all this gold, and you pour out alcohol on the ground. Or don't do these dangerous drugs. I'm not talking about heroin or cocaine or the chemical death drugs that they're giving people and wiping out whole cultures. We're not talking about synthetic heroin that they call Percocets and stuff like that. I'm talking about from Mother Earth herself, and Mother Earth is mostly water. From Mother Earth herself, she gives the psychoactive plants that are like they're messages to your neurotransmitter. They get you into a certain state. You go into that state, and then you are forced to look at yourself. Versus when you go into a nightclub and you're forced to look at materialism. And the Native American people did it. The Celtic people did it. The Aborigines did it so much that they call it dream time. The Aborigines actually call it dream time. All right, all these tribes, and they won't tell you this either, will sit around. And some Nigerian tribes take Iboga. And they'll tell you through the dream state, you will see your ancestors and you'll see yourself. You will look at yourself and say, I'm an asshole. I drink too much. I eat too much. I'm always fighting with my husband. I'm always fighting with my wife. I'm not faithful to my girlfriend. I haven't taken care of my children. And then you have to deal with self. Now, another thing, and Timo is well versed in this, is that you'll notice, and this goes, dancing is like the key fundamentals. I hope people understand this. Dancing is the key fundamentals of all exercise. Dancing is the key fundamentals of all warriors. Some of your most popular fighters, Muhammad Ali was an advanced dancer. Bruce Lee used to teach dancing lessons. Bruce Lee used to teach. When he was coming over to America, he would teach dancing lessons. Sango is the dancer, the warrior. I can name time and time again, Anderson Silva had one of the longest reigning streaks in mixed martial arts, is a black Brazilian man who dances like Michael Jackson sometimes when he comes to the ring. The dancing state is the state of will, because it's not about fighting people necessarily or hurting them. It's about touching your will or getting in touch with your will. You will notice that as you do physical activities, as you advance in dancing, that you have to have breath control. And you'll notice that once you are in a state of physical, and I'm not talking about carnal sex, but uplifting sex, dancing, any type of exercise, anything like that, you have to have breath control. And the people all know this. If you do any morning kriyas from India, the ancient Indian people, they will tell you that you have to have breath control. When you do qigong, the word qi means moist breath. You have to have breath control. If you study the ocean long enough and you study what H2O is, and you understand the implications and the importance of oxygen in controlling one's breath, you will go into the trance state. Once you are there, you will either deny your mother or you will go into your mother. For the ocean is the mother of all. It's hypnotism in its highest order. She takes the will, she brings the son who does the will of Obatala. Obatala goes down. And not just that, but I'm gonna throw another element that I'll touch on when I go to North Carolina. Shango's biological father in certain traditions is a Ganju, the volcano. Many people deny the validity of the ancient West African traditions and the Native Americans around the world because science, Western European science, has taught them that these are primitives. They did not know what they were talking about. But a Ganju, a Gayu, a Ganju, there's different ways of saying his name. He is the biological father who gave his son over to Obatala in adoption in certain tradition. These stories are symbols. A Ganju is the volcano. All right? So here's what's happening with the volcano. If anybody ever studies volcanoes, 70% of volcanoes are located under the ocean. If anybody knows anything about the heart, your heart, because every good son loves his mother. So the favorite son of Yamea, as I told you guys, and the deeper side of Yamea is Olokun, the deep part of the ocean, is Sango. Sango represents the heart. The heart is electric. This is another thing I'm going to tell you. So not only can you prove they knew what they were talking about when they said Yamea and a Ganju had Sango, they're telling you the volcano and the ocean gave birth to the lightning, the electricity, the electromagnetic power that's in you. The heart is 5,000 times more electric than any other part of your body. When you die and they're trying to revive you in the hospital, they take the defibrillator and they hit your heart. I hope everybody hears loud and clear what I'm saying. They hit you in the heart with the electricity to revive you, to bring you back to life. When they study the phenomenon of volcanoes, what they find is the lava comes up through the volcano and it's electrically charged. Those electric charged particles go up into the atmosphere, and now they're speculating that that's what causes the clouds to be electrically charged, right? Because the ancient people knew what they were talking about. And if you ever study how land rose up by Yamea and Olokun, which is the deeper side of Yamea, being with her husband, Aganju, the volcano, and the lava built the land up onto the land itself. And then out of that volcanic ash went electric particles of lightning. And scientists speculate that lightning came back down into the ocean and animated certain minerals and enzymes, or I'm sorry, aminos and proteins, whatever, and started the first cellular life on the earth. And that's why they have different broken traditions in Africa. Shango or Sango is called Amadioha to the Igbo tribe. And Amadioha is a creator god as much as he is the god of lightning as well. So as far as that's concerned, I'm going to let Timo jump in. My bad, man. I went a little off, but I was just feeling it. So
no, that's good. Whoa. That's good. That's good. That's good. I know they got a chance to eat. So, you know, that's a nice little taste of what's coming in March 23rd in Durham, North Carolina. So, you know, I just wanted to kind of hit on a couple of points of what you said, you know, talking about the natural trance state. So, you know, when you do your breathing correct, right? So when you focus on your breathing, you get your breathing done right, then the breath, the oxygen in the breath acts as a lubrication for the kundalini up the spine so that it can help get through the different stoppages that go along the way. Because as the fire is coming up the spine, right, there's blockages, there's stuff in the way that's not letting it go up. There's ideas, there's different emotions, there's different feelings, there's different thoughts, there's different, you know, all kind of different stuff that you have within your awareness that's stopping you from allowing that fire to go up in the first place, right? So when you do the breathing, that forces the trance state. Another way to get a trance state is through orgasm, right? Orgasm is a natural trance. It makes you get the sensory absorption, right? To the point to where you absorb all your senses at once, right? Through orgasm. When you go into orgasm, you focus strictly and completely on all of your senses. All you can think about is how good it feels, right? So this is the moment of creation. This is the time when you're supposed to take your idea, you're supposed to take your thought process, and you're supposed to conceive it through your willpower, right? But that's done in a trance. That's what creation is done. Creation is done in a trance state. Creation is done in the trance state. So we were all created within that point. That's where we all existed from, and that's actually the point that we use. So it doesn't have to be blockage in the trance state. Another way to go into a trance state is when you are afraid, when you're scared, right? When you're extremely scared, you go into an automatic trance state, right? Something scares you, you go into the what? You focus on everything. You're in a trance.
Hey, listen, you know what too, and that's called the flight or fight. It's like your response. Yeah, my bad. And that too, what you'll notice is the heart kicks in, Sango, the heart kicks in, and the breathing kicks in. And those people who can control, and Timo's talking about that, those people who can control the breathing can help that state. What happens in that state too is your cortisol levels go up. Mm-hmm. You start to secrete a lot of stress hormones. Mm-hmm. And the whole point of and people have to realize this, every time that you're put in a state of now, as we're talking about when we're talking about a trance state, you're usually advertised to. Mm-hmm. If you ever really think about it in any kind of depth, anytime somebody puts you in a state of now, when you're watching television and you go into that state, that's what they're trying to get you to. And this is, remember, if anybody's been paying attention to what I've been saying earlier, that R complex, that serpent complex in the center of your brain, I'll get the name of the brother later. I'll post it up. There was a white gentleman who they used to pay hundreds of millions of dollars to advertise to people. And he said the animal always wins when you advertise, because he's advertising to the most animalistic state of your mind. And they use animalistic colors. Animals in the wild go for the red and the yellow. All you got to do is drive around some of these fast food restaurants and look at what colors are on the fast food restaurants. Go look at McDonald's next time. Go look at Burger King. They will find a way to put the red and the yellow in there because they're triggering that animal state. And nutritionists, this is not just something made up when it comes to color schemes and the way that your subconscious mind, your trance state works, and you don't realize it. Nutritionists are now telling people, if you want to eat less at night, if you want to eat less during the day, and you don't want to just overeat, to get a blue plate, simply for the fact that in the wild, animals are not used to, with the exception of blueberries, eating anything that's blue. And they say that will trigger your brain, your mind, to stop eating. So people don't realize, next time that you get advertised to, you get excited about something, you go watch, let's say you go watch the Black Panther movie. Go and monitor your breathing in certain scenes. When you feel yourself triggering into that trance state, go listen, go really monitor your breath and what's going on with you. And you'll be amazed at what's going on. And that's how they get you. That's how they get you every time. They get the animal. That is the mystery behind the symbols of the story of the serpent in the garden. And that's the mystery. I'll take it one step further. Everybody should know, if you ever had to deal with a Christian home, of the story of Moses being in the wilderness with the children of Israel. And they were bitten by serpents. They were bitten by serpents. They were dying from serpent venom. And then Moses went and he made a bronze serpent. A serpent made of bronze. And he said, if you look at the serpent, now think about this, your eyes are your intelligence. If you look at the serpent, then you will be healed. And when Jesus came, this is the supposed story of Jesus, Yeshua, the supposed story, because it's really a symbolic story more than it's a literal. He said, as the bronze serpent was lifted up in the wilderness, so shall the Son of Man. The wilderness is the ocean and the wild jungle, the desert. It's the wilderness. It's your subconscious mind. What they're teaching you in these Masonic biblical stories, because they are Masonic. Jesus was a carpenter, supposedly, in the story. Where the ripped off stories. The ripped off stories. Remember, Moses was a pharaoh. There's no word for pharaoh. Pharaoh is not a word they used in Kemet. The word was Nesut Beti. Nesut Beti. Okay, so supposedly Moses, who never existed, I hate to be mean, I hate to be like this, but Moses never existed, lifted up a bronze serpent. It's a symbolic story saying that if you have the ability to look with your mind, visualize in your mind, and make a connection with your R complex, you will heal every part of your body. You will boost your immune system. You'll adapt to every environment. You will heal yourself. And that's why people are taught these stories as literal stories to destroy them. They're destroying people by making it into literalism. And that's one of the saddest things in our culture is they have people following stuff that they think is deep, and there's no meaning or explanation for it. Why would anybody who's supposedly monotheistic be beholding a bronze serpent? And don't even get me started, and I don't mean to be negative, but don't get me started on the inferiority of the monotheistic mindset, all right? Because when you look at nature itself is opposite of monotheism. Nature itself is fractal by nature. When you look at how natures break down, the fractal is one part of the whole. Nature itself breaks down organisms into fractals. You are a fractal. You're a community. You are not just one. I'm not just Diallo. You know, I am a community of trillions of cells, like everybody else who's watching this thread. I mean, just in your eye alone, your nose alone is billions and billions of cells, and those cells are just like you. They communicate electromagnetically. You think you only communicate with sound, but sound actually is deeply embedded in electromagnetic operations. So they procreate, they eat, they reproduce their own kind. Every cell is a little unit of you. And that's how if you really want to get deeper with that, and I'll go deeper with that in North Carolina, when you really look at what that is, when you ask the ancient African people, who is God, or show us God, or where's heaven, they would tell you heaven, God doesn't live in heaven. Heaven lives inside of God. All right? They would tell you that. They would tell you that heaven lives inside of God. They would tell you that just like you have trillions of cells in your body, you are one of the cells of Nyami or Enyamewa or Amenet, Amen, Amenet, Raet, Amen, Ra. And these cells are kept together by the vibration frequency that they know keeps every particle together. And that frequency is the Om when you say Amen. And you can trace that right into southern India, the Om. That's why they don't say Amen, they say Amen. And if you really want to get stupid with it, and people really want to go there with it, what do you say at the end of your prayers? You say Amen. What do the Muslims say? They say Ameen, because they know. They're from a priesthood who ripped it off. It's older than time, and they know what the Om is. All you got to do is go outside, turn your car engine on, listen to the vibration of the car engine, and you'll hear Om. It's in everything that keeps everything together. Every part of your body, everything, and the brothers down here saying everything is vibration. Everything is vibration. When you go into a trance state, that's why when they meditate, they have breath control and they say Amen. When you say Om is the masculine. It's the expansion. That's what masculinity is. When you say Net or Et or Ra'et, that's the feminine contraction. The contraction puts the boundary and brings stuff into manifestation. It's like your lung complex. If you breathe and all you do is expand, your lungs will pop. If your lungs don't stop expanding, if they don't contract, you won't be able to get the carbon monoxide out of your body. You'll die of poison, okay? So that's how the universe is. Amen is the expansion or the Om. Amenet is the contraction. She puts the boundary on the energy. She is the manifester of the energy. Just like the myth that was told, because all these are symbolic stories, of Isis and her husband Osiris.
Yes. Are you froze, fam? You good?
All right, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. But Isis is called Aset. Her husband's called Osor. Okay? So what's happening with Isis is she goes down, or Aset, I would say Aset goes down. She finds all the pieces of her husband. She gets the obelisk. His spirit comes down. or the code in the DNA. If you look at anybody, if you look at me or anybody around you, most of our body is made up of outside material. The real you is a tiny program, like a software program of DNA that comes from consciousness, which is fractile. The feminine is receptive. Receptivity means she takes in the programming. She was the original virgin mother, or Mata Marai. She took in the programming, and then she gave birth to the will that keeps you alive, which is her son Heru, who is the lion serpent. The second coming of Heru is upon us now. The will is being dispersed. People were put into slavery. Indigenous cultures were shot down of all races, all races. They destroyed the Native Americans. They destroyed the Celtic white people in Ireland. They destroyed the black people in Africa. They literally try to take down everything that's indigenous, but it's not working because the second coming of Heru is coming. And in Revelation, where they ripped that story off, they ripped it off from the Kemet people. They ripped it off from the Kemet people. They said, behold, you will see a woman. This is in Revelation. She will have the sun and moon above her head and the stars below her feet. And she was chased into the wilderness, or the subconscious mind, but she gave birth to a man-child who will rule with an iron rod. We are here. These people are teaching you to hate the instincts within you. They call it the mark of the beast, which is in your forehead, according to their book, and on your hand. They are the instruments of Pax Romana, Roman oppression, period. Oppression, the oppressor always bases oppression on race, period. You can go to every culture in the world, they started off as indigenous. And then they're pitted against each other. You go take a look at it right now. The Masonic agenda that they have is to pit all races against each other. And I don't mean to get racial, but I'm going to tell you guys the truth. One of the things that they do to enslave people is they make poor people who live in the middle of nowhere, who have nothing, who feel like they have privilege because of the color of their skin, because they're white, and they have nothing. They make them hate other poor black people who have nothing. And that's how they keep us oppressed. When the truth is, the kingdom of heaven, and in their little story, the little ripoff story, they tell you, Jesus says, behold, the kingdom of heaven, and this is in Luke, you can go look it up in Luke 21, the kingdom of heaven does not come through observation, for the kingdom of heaven is within you and all around you. Because they kept asking, what are you talking about? Because back then, Yeshua, who never existed. But supposedly the Pharisees went to Yeshua, supposedly in the story, and they asked him, we are the Hebrews, who never existed. They were Canaanites and Phoenicians, never existed. Remember I said that. And they said, we're here to conquer the Gentiles. We don't know what you're talking about. What is this kingdom of heaven? Show us this kingdom. And he said, you can't, because it's inside you and all around you. Like I said, inside the body of Nayame, Olorun, inside of the body of Olokun, the great ocean that is down there and the great ocean that is in the sky is the kingdom of heaven. Heaven is not a place you go to. Heaven is inside you. It's what we created. And our children are the ones who are creating it, and they rip it away from they tear it from our children. They rip it away from them. They tear it from them. They destroy them in the first couple years of your life. And these Jesuit priests used to say it when they used to brainwash people. Jesuit priests said, give us a child between the ages of 1 and 7, and we will have him as a slave for the rest of their natural life. You go look at your children. You better hold your children dear. Every day they destroy your children. Every day. Every day. And these people running around here, and I'm telling you it's happening. That's what the first one they victimize, because your children are naturally in a trance state. And you cannot enter the kingdom of heaven unless you have the mind of a child. You know, I got to go take my child home right now, but it was a lovely evening. I appreciate it. Thanks for listening to me babble on, and I hope I see a lot of you guys up in North Carolina.
Yo, peace, God. Hey, listen, we're going to be doing something every week. So, you know, it's not going to be the last time that you'll see him. We'll be doing something on Sundays, but we'll let you know more about that later. So, you know, it's only 8 o'clock, though, right?
Yeah, I got to get them ready, though.
Okay, all right. No doubt, fam. So, you know, I'll get with you in a minute.
if we can do something Saturday night when you guys want to, I'm available all night long.
Okay.
Except for when I got to spend time with my significant other, Giselle Cabrera, and her beautiful self. So yeah, but I'm available most all night long.
All right, we'll put it together then, fam.
All right, thanks so much, man. I appreciate it, man. Nice seeing you again, bro. I hope I see you in North Carolina. This is my right hand man right here, man. He put me on in the rap game when we were a little less enlightened, and he put me on now, man. So I owe you a lot, bro. I really appreciate this, man.
Man, it's all good, man. You know, everything is what it's supposed to be. You know, and you always show and prove. You always come with it. So you know, it is what it is. They love hearing. You know, the teaching is so precise, man, that it's gonna work. It's gonna work good. So, you know, that's what's up, man. Everybody, you know, you can basically find Diallo. You know, you can see who he is if you want to chop it up with him. You can find him through his page or through Alchemy Temple. All right. And also, he'll be down in the event March 23rd in Durham, North Carolina. So if you want the tickets to do that, it's $25 to get into the building. It's a 6-hour event. It's going to be full of foods, energetic food, and you're going to love it. All right. So I'm going to continue to cipher a little bit and open up the floor for question and answer. You can just, you know, chill till you're ready to bounce, or however you want to do that, you know.
Okay. Yeah, I'm about to make sure he's ready, my son, because I got to take him back to his mom. And you guys have a wonderful evening, man. Thanks again, bro. This was great. Thanks for listening to me go on.
You already know,
I appreciate it, man.
Yes, you already know.
All right, one.
All right, bless our God.
Everybody be blessed and I say.
Diallo C. All right, so God body. And it's going to be vicious in Carolina. You have no idea. We're putting together some real heavy-hitting stuff for you. All right, so I just want to talk just a little bit, kind of follow up on what he's saying, because he really wants to, you know, combine and put everything together so that you can see how everything ties in, right? So we want to work with the trance state, the different levels of trance, and how you can be into a trance in the first place, right? So you have pain and you have pleasure. Pleasure is the child. Child is in that pleasureful state all the time. You know, they're always happy. They're always imagining. They're always putting things into that trance state. That's what the child's doing. That's the pleasureful part. The orgasm, which is the life force, the raw life force energy, right? Which is raw life force energy, which is what you take all through your life. So a lot of the energy for this trance work is left behind once your pineal gland is calcified. Once your pineal gland is calcified, then you usually you lose the ability to slip into a trance state, especially because you don't really know how to breathe. And once you forget to breathe, right? Once you forget to know how to breathe and how to actually deepen your breath, that's the Olokun part that we talked about. How to actually go to the deep part of your subconscious and go into the lower part of your temple, because your vessel is divided up. It's not broken down into, it's not just one lump of self. Your physical body, your physical vessel is divided up into many entities and many divisions. So the low part, the Olokun part, the deep low breath, which is underneath your belly button, you have to dig your breath from under there and keep it constant. And when you do that, you can take yourself into an automatic trance. Now, what would be the reason that you would want to go into a trance in the first place? Why would you even want to go into a trance other than the creative aspect that we just talked about? Another reason you would want to go into a trance is because you want to be able to program the subconscious mind to do whatever you want it to do. See, most of the time, your thoughts, you're not in a trance. You don't have focus. You don't have awareness. You have a little bit of awareness, but you don't have the focus that it takes for your words to perform whatever it is that you want them to perform. So you say and you plan, and then you start to do, but then the activation of the thing that you're doing doesn't really happen because the thought is not activated. When you go into a trance, it's easy to program the subconscious mind. So you can't program you can't access the subconscious mind while you're functioning in the self-conscious mind, right? In order for you to access the subconscious mind, you have to shut down the physical self, right? You have to forget the self-awareness, which is into the illusionary realm of the physical world, right? So you forget the illusionary realm. The one way that you do that is you forget the fact that there is anything going on. You have bills, you have problems, you have stress, you have beef, you have whatever going on that you have going on in the building. Peace to the God. What's up, fam? You have whatever's going on in your life. When you get into that orgasmic state, you forget that anything is going on, and you get into that natural, pleasureful type state. Peace, Crystal, how you doing? You get into that natural, pleasure type state, and you forget that you have things happening in your life. You forget that you have problems. You forget that you had plans. You forget anything going on because you're in a trance. Now, had you taken your thought and focused your trance, the trance, then you would have been able to create and make things happen in the way that they were supposed to happen. But instead of the energy being allowed to move, the energy's blocked. The energy stopped because you have hangups, you have pride, you have ego, you have things, the personality, right? The personality is what you travel with over different lifetimes. So this is what's creating your chakra circulatory system, your soul, your actual soul. Your soul is your personality. Right? So you're taking your personality to the next level. You're taking your personality to the next life. So you die right now, you know, something happens to you tonight. When you go to the next level, you go to the next life, you're only going to have what you accumulated up to that point. That's the part that allowed the fire or that energy to activate when you're in a trance. Right? So whatever you didn't allow to go through, whatever you didn't allow to conquer, whatever you didn't allow to be programmed through your conscious will, because that's what it is. It's about will, right? If you don't let your conscious will program your actions, then the environment and things like that are going to basically destroy and focus you and make you do whatever it is that you're going to do. Right? So you want to make sure that you activate the trance state, the natural trance state, doing different things like yoga, you know, the hatha yoga, putting yourself in different positions where you're comfortable, positions where you're uncomfortable, make sure you're having a daily ritual or daily routine where you're constantly focusing and where you're constantly building your inner self up. Because it's all about your awareness, it's all about your thought process, and if you don't go into a trance, you can't program and remote control. You want to remote control your physical life from the astral realm, from that plane. You want to bring that energy down, and that way you don't have to be in this life hustling and grinding and trying to figure out what's good, because you will be controlling what's popping from there, right? And you do it from here, right? So that's the whole point. So you want to make sure that you can stay into those natural trance states. All right. You want to be in a trance. So, it's easy to be in a trance. Okay, so there are different ways to do it. Obviously, it does take specialized focus, right? Because you want to have a special quality of life, right? You want to have a special quality of breathing. Now, you already associate life with breath, right? I mean, we associate life with breath. If we remove the breath, then we have death, right? No breath is death, right? So the better the breath, the better the life. So you include the type of life. This is the breath is going to take you to a trance. I mean, you know it already. When you run, you get tired, you have to silence everything around you. It's quiet, right? And daydreaming is actually what frees you up. You do it at night. Sometimes you go to sleep and you don't even dream. Sometimes you go to sleep and you don't even dream. Sometimes you don't even dream, which means that your physical body is actually a prison for your spirit. You're supposed to travel every night. When you're working on that robotic shit during the daytime and you're doing what you do right there. See, remember last night I talked about on the video, I talked about the part of your soul that waits for you to go and play in the sun and comes back to yourself. That's why it's called daydreaming. Because the dream state, the trance state, is your natural state of being. That's where you're supposed to be at. You're supposed to be focused on, which is your inner self, right? So breath, yes, life is definitely in the breath. Breath is the spirit. Breath is the spirit. So when you learn how to deepen the breath, you can do that. We have classes at alchemytemple.org that you can look You can go and look at the classes. I have a brief description of the classes. The classes break down everything. They're video conference style through Zoom. Okay, so you have regular rituals that you do. They're called breath rituals. Okay, ujaba, the indigenous word ujaba, right? So these are breath rituals. Rituals of breath. And see, the power is coming through synchronicity, right? So what you want to do is you want to learn that you can synchronize with other people. You can synchronize with as many people as you can. You want to synchronize right now. It's not about being alone witch. Okay, most of us are lone practitioners. We are very reclusive. We stick to ourselves. We do what we got to do, and that's what we do, right? But Alchemy Temple, the whole focus of alchemy in the position like this is for the people who are really trying to learn and trying to put things in, who have the willpower, but they don't have the technique and the instruction, right? You can get the technique, you can get the instruction, and you can still function doing whatever it is you have to do, but you have other people, other energies that are actually synchronized by doing the same thing. You know how you're synchronized? You're synchronized through the idea. You synchronize through the thought process. You synchronize through the desire. The same thing you want. You want self-perfection. You want self-supremacy. You want to be the most supreme version of yourself, right? You being an alpha, everyone around you should also be an alpha. There should be no beef. There should be no, unless somebody doesn't agree, unless something is going on and you can't work it out, then that's what that is. But everybody wants to be the best that they can be. And so in order to just produce the culture is the culture of self-supremacy, the cosmic agenda. And that's what we're going into. So you want to make sure that, if you're interested in the classes, you can inbox me, Nua Soul. You can inbox Alchemy Temple. You can inbox Alchemy Temple, and we can build. You can go directly to the website. The website is alchemytemple.org. You can do it that way, and that's how it is. So we have a group of different teachers, and so you have an opportunity too. The opportunity is, once you get to you'll complete the program, you get certification. If you want, you complete the program, then you can work. You'll have to be certified to be able to work in the field as far as, business purposes. If you can really have the craft work, the skill to be able to actually do what you do in the business world, So the bottom line is, if you are interested in the classes, if you're interested in doing that, then you can find out that way. We're going to have a series of different shows, so pay attention to the different shows that are coming up. We have another one coming definitely on Wednesday. That's going to be Wet Witch Wednesdays. Okay, that's going to be with the sister Jamila and Christy Perez. All right, we're going to also have me, Nua Soul, and Diallo C is going to be every Sunday. Okay, so we're going to have different shows that are going to be coming up in the population like that, so just stay tuned. You see what's coming up. All right, so I'm going to open up the floor just a few minutes for questions and answers. So anybody have any questions, we're going to go ahead and run with that just for a couple of minutes, and then we'll end the cipher. Also, I did want to say this. If there's anybody who's dope, you have your skills, you have the things that you have going on, you have your craft work, you have your products, you have your things like that, and you need a place to advertise, link up media at alchemytemple.org. We're featuring, actually, first inbox Nua Soul, right? And we need to chop it up with you and kind of find out what's going on. We're featuring different people. We'll give your contact information out. We'll let you know what's going on. We'll let people know about what's happening with this. These pieces all come from different places, but the rings, in fact, the brother that's in here that actually sculpted these individual pieces is named Brian Pharaoh Terrell. He got some real dope pieces. You can check him out. He has crystals that he works with. He has a whole bunch of different stuff. He has a center of consciousness. Go ahead, check out Brian Pharaoh Terrell and see what he has for you on the jewelry and different things like that. Right, so this is a place where basically we're trying to give a network of different energies. So you can go to alchemytemple.org and look at this section on there that's jewelry if you want to order a ring from there. Now, Pharaoh also takes orders, and he has different pieces. He has orders and he takes pieces. He did these rings. They're nice. You know, like look at this one. This is selenite. Right? He has some real nice pieces. You know, you can go in there and he'll design, talk to him, tell him what you want, and he'll work with you the best he can. Nice, reasonable prices and everything. All right. Now, there's another choice, additional choice, alchemytemple.org. There's some jewelry on there, a whole bunch of different type of pieces. So, you know, that's what's up. What's good? Pyrite ring. Oh yeah, beautiful pyrite ring. Pyrite ring. Yep. Down for learning. You're still in the learning process, but you feel you need some guidance and discipline. Most definitely. Well, you know, I've organized the courses. I've organized the course so that the course is actually very perfect for people in that position, right? If you, it's the guidance is definitely there, and the discipline is going to come from the organization of the classes and from you having the experience from the very first class. It's not like you're going to have to experience something like weeks later down the line. You're going to get the experience from the very first class, and that's something that I know that you can benefit from. Okay. And I have, like, you know, I'm real one-on-one, so I love to work with people one-on-one. I have, even in the classes, I'll keep them kind of small. I may put them in maybe 3 or 4 people at the most. At 5 people, I'm definitely gonna make a new class. You know, I'm able to work with your schedule, so you don't have to worry about that. I'm able to work with your schedule. You know, if you have a certain time frame, we can actually work that out. You know, we can actually look at that and see what's going on. You know, see how that is. So, yeah, so definitely, you know, make sure you link up with me, Tiffany, Mystic Empress. Are you the sister said you in Jamaica? We have a couple clients in Jamaica, some good people over there. Okay, and I see I'm going back through some of the questions here. Okay, so the kids off of ADHD medication. Okay, so first of all, you know, the ADHD diagnosis, right? The ADHD diagnosis is they're actually diagnosing children in 6 months and under to be able to do that. Okay, do I do guided meditations? Yes, I do guided meditations. I do the guided meditations. That is an integral part of the soul body hygiene. There are guided meditations. Yes, also, oh, definitely, yes. Enchantress Services has the dope juju bags. You know, if you need the nice juju bags, you need the herbs, you need, you know, different, you know, concoctions for, you know, different esoteric needs, things like that. You definitely want to get with Enchantress. Okay, Enchantress's email address is Enchantress, the number 3. You see it in there, enchantress@gmail.com. That's just a nice spot for you to get it with, to get it from there. You're going to be able to find some of those pieces up on alchemytemple.org. All right, so, all right, let me say what I'm about to say about this ADHD. They're actually diagnosing the children with ADHD before they are 6 months old. Okay, and this is a target. This is a gender target. Gender, not only a gender, but a racial target. Okay, just like the target of the abortion and things like that. There's the target in ADHD in particular. If you want to remove, first of all, you're dealing with chemicals, so you're going to have to deal with a replacement for the chemicals. So first of all, you have the different alkaline foods, things like that, the different medications, the different meditations, excuse me, the meditations that focus on the light, the meditations that focus on focus, right, different things like that. So as far as the medication and weaning off the anything that you do with meditation is going to be a slow weaning process. Actually, for booking, you're going to booking at alchemytemple.org. That's where the booking is going to come from. Booking at alchemytemple.org. So, yeah, the process on the guided meditations, is that what you're asking about? The process on the guided meditations? The process on the guided meditations is real simple, you know, and it's a real nice way to actually get you to go through the different conscious channels to get you to show how to get to the next level. Another word that you were looking for. Okay, process. Okay, I got you. Okay, the process. Yeah. So you know the different the different helps that help induce trance work. You know, the lavender, chamomile, the aromatherapy. Also, the ADHD. Another thing with ADHD is that, okay, I got you. The process with ADHD, removing ADHD. The other process is going to be the different binaural beats. Right, these binaural beats are in the higher tones, the higher frequencies, up in the thousands. Okay, 6397. Those higher ones, those are going to be the ones that you're going to want to use for that. 457. That's another one that's going to be good. You use for that. You want to use those frequencies. You want to use those frequencies to help. You also want, for ADHD and different diagnoses like that, you want to use your Hertz bells or your tuning forks. Okay, you want to use your Hertz bell or your tuning forks. You want to use your Hertz bells are these right here with the high vibrations to help focus. Okay. Okay, 873. Even the 10,000 hertz frequencies. Okay, also you can use light therapy. Light therapy, you know, by using the shining of the light across the eyes, slowly with the eyes closed. Okay, that's another way to do that. Okay, no, they're called tuning forks. Tuning forks. Tuning forks. The tuning forks are excellent for focus, so that's why I would recommend them for ADHD. Okay, so first of all, anytime the medical institution gets their hands on your child and they start putting chemicals in their body and they start putting, you know, all these different chemicals, they're creating a zombie. All right, I wouldn't let them do that. Okay, you have a problem, you know, your child is like, he's hyper, right? That's one of the natural states that children are. Children are hyper. Children get into that hyper state. So tuning forks. You use the tuning forks to actually tap that vibration and let that go. Okay? So children are going to be hyper. So when they get hit with that ADHD and they actually get hit with that vibration, you know, with that diagnosis, you know, in order to wean them off, you want to actually use the different things to actually actually bring them down. Now, the high pitched sound is one indication of energy trying to contact you. We use the word spirit. We throw that around, of that spirit actually trying to contact you and trying to actually speak to you, right? Now, it depends. You know, I will have to get with you to be able to do a divination or do a reading to be able to find out for sure. But a lot of times, those high-pitched sounds, okay, so this is not too high, right? But if I had tuning forks, if I had, okay, and I'm doing a meditation with you, you hear how it's permeating, right? It's still going, right? If I go up to the higher one, okay, it's a high-pitched sound. Energies that are negative vibrations, they don't like the high-pitched sounds. It destroys them. So I would pay attention to when you're hearing the high-pitched sound, how you're feeling, what's going on, what's going through your psyche, through which your psyche is your cosmos, right? Because that's your astral field. That's your auric field. Your auric field is actually the cosmos, your body being the earthbound, and the cosmos is the surrounding area around you. So what's going on in your particular energy field while you're doing that? Okay? What's going on in your energy field while you're hearing that sound? Okay? And, you know, for you, that frequency, being that I can kind of tell, you know, from having a few interactions with you, I can kind of tell that your vibration is heightening, or is higher, is evolving, right? It's evolving. So that energy, that high pitched sound, could represent communication codes, which is called vibratory communication, right? A lot of times, energies will communicate with you through telepathy, telepathic communication. Other times, they will do it through actual tones, right? Vibratory communication, right? So when you hear these tones, you have to pay attention to what's happening after you hear the tones. What's happening after you hear the tones? When you hear the tones, are you being attracted to a lot of different energy? When you hear the tones, are you getting a lot of new information? You know, when you hear these tones, are you getting headaches because those are different tones? Or you have backaches? Those you can tell, you can identify by the negative aspect if it's a bad entity that you want to separate and get outside of your aura, because you have thought form entities and attachments and things that actually connect themselves to you through thought form entities. A lot of the thought form entities you create yourself, right? So they're not all thought form entities that are coming and attaching themselves because they were sent to you, but a lot of the thought form entities are self-created, right? So, you know, you have all these blockages coming up from that right there. So you have to pay attention on how, when you hear that tone or vibration of what's going on. What does it mean when your body vibrates inside? Well. The inner vibration, right? The inner vibration, the inner tone. Everybody has a tone of voice, right? So if we're talking about tonal vibrations, right? Everybody has a tone of voice, right? So your tone, your voice, if you listen to different cultures like Africa, right? Like Jamaica, right? Like India, like the Dravidian Hindus, right? They speak from down here, down inside, down deep inside. Everybody, the men, the women, everybody's from down here. It's from way down inside. That's the tonal vibration. Whereas in the West, the vibration is more surface and it's more like this. So the consciousness is actually more surface too. The tonal vibration, when your inner self is vibrating, then that is tonal vibration, which is another form of telepathic communication with intergalactic or interdimensional beings, which we call loosely spirits, or different levels of yourself, different conscious levels of, or different pilling levels of your own consciousness. Because remember, like I stated, your personality, or your soul body, your chakra circulatory system, your melanin clusters, they travel through life, from life to life. So when you go to your physical death, you know, there's a part of your soul which is broken down into layers. Obviously, we know that there are the different layers. There's a part of your soul that knows is going to leave you at death. It knows that when you die, that it's going to leave you, and it has to be cared for, right? So the vibration, depending on if that part of yourself is trying to communicate or what's going on. If there's a part of you that needs to be awakened, these are triggers. There are triggers that actually happen. And sometimes they can be represented by sounds that you hear, vibrations that you feel, visions that you see, things going on within your astral sensory field, your astral perception field, right? So you have the different, like right now, everyone under the sound of my voice can hear what I'm saying, right? So, you know, that's a vibrational field. If you're under the and so it would be an inner vibration. Okay, so anyone who's within eye shot, anyone that can see me within eye shot, that's within a vibration. So that is a tonal vibration. So in the beginning there was a sound, right? So you know it to be in the beginning there was a word. In the beginning was the word, but what is the word? The word is a sound, right? The word is a sound. How much is it for an ADHD reading? Well, I don't really have anything called an ADHD reading, but I'll talk to you after the broadcast and I can help you out. I don't really know what I would charge you to just tell you something, probably just a general reading, and find out if that's the real issue, because that might not even be the real issue. That might be your concern. But see, a lot of concerns are attached to the real issue, like a symptom, the runny nose to a cold, right? So I don't know for sure that that's the issue. So I would have to, you know, see what's good. But I got you. Um, yes, tonal vibration. So you want to be able to use the tonal vibrations, and that's how you get your willpower, right? Everybody uses this at different degrees. Your tonal vibration. You know, when there's something that you really want, you use a certain voice, right? When there's something that you really need, you use a certain voice, okay? And that tonal vibration is going to access. That's why when you do your mantras, it's good to do your mantras in different tones of voice. It's good to do your mantras at high pitch. It's good to do them in, you know, as low as you can go. It's good to go as high as you can go. Okay. So that's pretty much what it is. So I'm gonna get ready to close the cipher down in a minute. I need to charge the phone. The phone is on 10%. So I'm getting ready to done this in a minute. I'll start wrapping it up. This is gonna be a weekly cipher on Sundays. So if there's anything in particular that anybody has, this is a good time. Okay, so is that good or not good? Let me ask you a question. Let me answer your question. Tonal vibrations, that's actually a good thing. You want the tonal vibration. You want that tonal vibration to happen. You want to be able to have that internal volcano to happen. You want that to happen. You want to be having that internal eruption going on all the time inside your auric field, inside your mental field, inside of your being, your total absolute self. You want that to always happen. You don't ever want to let that actual vibration die down. You want to always be explosive. You want to always be explosive. Always explosive. Never docile. See, we were taught, we were trained to be docile. We were taught and we were trained to be submissive, to be the perfect bitch, right? To be the perfect victim. You know how to be we learn how to be the perfect victim. We're not trying to be victims. All right, we're not trying to be victims. We're trying to raise up, you know, gods and goddesses, higher vibrations, so that the next 3 to 9 to 12, 13 generations have something to stand on, because it's about a legacy. If there's no legacy built, then you don't exist. You won't be a mattering in this life. If you're not building a legacy, you won't really remain to exist right now. Nobody's going to care about anything that you do. And when you transition, when you die, no one's going to call your name. You won't be a recognized ancestor. You'll be in a state of awareness like you are right now. Not saying anyone in particular, but I'm saying like the whole thing. You feel me? So the whole point is that we want to make sure that we are individually working on the legacy, the internal, personal, internal, eternal legacy, right? By building yourself up. There's nothing that should stop you from actually taking that step to do that. Okay, so if it's money, you know what? We work a payment plan. If it's time, you know what? Your schedule will be accommodated. We have several instructors. Also, we have it to where the recordings are pre-recorded, so you can actually listen to the recordings at your own convenience. All right, there's no excuse for you to basically not take that step to be able to do that. Whether you're a regular practitioner, you're someone that you've already, are in this, you have a practice, that's cool. Whatever your field of practice or field of study or your field of expertise is, it actually is complemented by this self-knowledge, this self-informing information. All right, so I see a couple of you guys are walking in the building. What's up, Hoodoo? What's up, Kimberly? I'm actually about to close down the broadcast. I do feel like there's a couple of other questions that need to come out, so I'm going to give it about 5 more minutes. I have a couple of minutes of battery left, so I'll go ahead and do that. Most definitely, most definitely, most definitely. Okay, all right. You were tagged, weren't you tagged in it? ISIS, you were tagged in it. So this is going to be a weekly thing, but it's all good because it is going to be left on, the recording is going to be left on the page. So you'll be able to go onto the page and catch the science. I'm going to share it on New Our Soul also. It'll also be on Alchemy Temple's page. All right? You'll be able to catch it there. And this is going to be a weekly show, a weekly broadcast that we're going to be doing. So post it. And we're actually putting together our broadcast more frequently so that you can see what you're in store for in Carolina. So we'll be having different shows throughout the week. Every Sunday, me and Diallo C will be on. Okay, so we want to have different functions like that. If there are any topics, every Sunday. If there are any topics, you know, take a list, inbox Alchemy Temple, right? Inbox Alchemy Temple for any of the topics that you may want to discuss on the weekly show. All right. We're working on if anybody who will want to attend the event but is unable to travel all the way to Carolina, we're working on, and you may be out of the country because we have a couple people here from international like that. So if you, we're working on trying to get pay-per-view, you know, an actual live streaming type thing. Bless up, Yamuda, how are you? You're welcome, Sandra, bless. Yes, so that's how we're going to do it. So I want you all to basically, if you can, try to make moves so you can get down to that event. Get down to do this in person because the energy is going to be much stronger and we have a whole lot planned for you. So that's what's going on. I'm going to go out with a little bit of vibration. We're actually ending the track right now. I mean, you guys are still coming in the building. You're going to make me go back into something. Y'all going to make me go back into it. I think maybe if I take a break, I can do that. Okay, I see you in New York. I'm coming. You know I have to come home. Soul Family, yes. Cosmic Tribe. I'm telling you, that's what I'm being led to do. I'm being led to do that because y'all are still coming in the building, and I just need to let the vibration resettle right quick because I had tried to wind it down. Take a quick intermission. You know, I'm gonna let a song play, and after that intermission, I should be good. You already know, East Coast, worldwide. Okay, I could even do that off the fly right now. I'll let you guys take a couple of topics. Okay, let me play this song right quick and take a brief intermission. I think I should be good. Y'all will be okay. Go through the bitter days, fight to find a better way. These insignificant folks keep on meddling. They making us fellas cause they jealous like a melanin. A million blunts later can't escape the shit we get. The mystery repeat and watch it leave it come again. My first eye open, see you well focus in. Don't unravel at the scene, you gotta hold it in. And all the pressure they apply, still you controlling it. Big royalty like your ancestors, they knowing it. The red carpet at your feet, I'm rolling it. You got the fire of the sun in your solar plexus. Gotta have the heart of a way you're pumping in your chest. I seen the junkie make a choice, trade life and death. I reach my hand and squeeze your neck, how much life is left. You ain't no empty mishandle the mic, I'm not impressed. I navigate the crowd, make them say yes, yes. I navigate the crowd, yes, so. I navigate the crowd, yes, yes. I navigate the crowd, yes, so. I navigate the crowd, yes, yes. Many faces holding half, many places slowing fast. The alternate position took the person, made him last. Took the love from riding, niggas started speaking for the cash. Most niggas never gon' contact.
of a wet paper bag like puppets on a string. Yo, I slay the whole team, let my pawn check, make they king. Really, I make us mad, what they needed. I touch the mic and rip that damn to I never get punch a hole to the ceiling, been holding it all day. Right now, start illin', cave the whole shit in. I wanna see it, rebuild it, take the hood back, and it's all for the music. Chaos is something, order the others, let's get more gun and do for self and stop asking another. System room, become the jungle gun, you get the maximum murder. Savage Mike Slayer, Supreme MC, I got a best, just learn to tame it. We rap fire, and I really love to aim it. Went underground, and I let the DJ play it. Now to be touched, and I can't be faded. Make a fist and punch a hole to the ceiling. Been holding it in all day. Right now, start illin'. Cave the whole shit in. I wanna see him rebuild it. Take the hood back, and it's all for the music.
Alright, one more track, yo, I'm coming.
Same ones I hurt you.
One more track, I see y'all hanging out strong. I'm right here.
Same ones you hurt. So this is Cypher. My hand reaching out, dap to grab it for somebody. Seventh dimension swamp, living around the fire, dancing chant. Out the anthem of a militant party. Chaotic, melodic, nomadic, my mind like a Saudi. Hardly anybody wanted hypnotic, the younger logic. Follow me quick with a pack of lines beside me. Inside the Maiybe you can find me. Fucking up any nigga that want for try me. Righteous but known to be grimy. Follow me deep in meditation. Above all competition. Living rising the peace. Surrounded by lovers of the beast. My treasure is hitting, got a pleasure of pain. Resurrecting myself while others playing lame. So easy to suffer, but so hard is my game. Out with a grueling goblin named jaw dropping, dice rolling, finger popping, club popping, ambulating, jaw charging. Babylon watching like me on stage, got y'all sleeping in the days, easily amazed. Call me crazy when I break off the chains from my mental, so I can reign like the king do no accidental. Blood spill, now you free your last, try to outlast the last, the gas, try to outrun the gun blast, outlast the past, words of cash, all your life a kissing ass. If I walk down the block and grab your bag, you can tell no allegiance I ever have. Won't salute they flag up for who follow the track. Crab niggas step on these, rare woman D's overseas. In some jungles, Congo right, hunger since rose in. But that night, I get in the cake, play me the extra like my shadow break. Kept the bossy boy hermaphrodite, no exception, detestable action, all types of fuckery. My frequency, BB, time 720, dimensional weapon, still I suffer by the hands of the ones that say they love me. Still I suffer by the hands of the ones that say they love me. Still I suffer by the hands of the ones that say they love me. Still I pain and pleasure the same. Need irreversible claim. Need to watch what you say. Cause an impression of what you make a measurable change. Like your baby, contuberary blade. Ritualistic exchange. Chaotic, melodic, melodic, more the main. Ignoring the signs. Through the passage of time. Removing the sky. The fabric of lies. Still I suffer by the hands of the ones that say they love me. Still I suffer by the hands of the ones that say they love me. Still I suffer by the hands of the ones that say they love me. Still I suffer.
Ay, ay, ay. Okay. Let's see what happened. Oh, Twin Flame, easy. Love the topic. Okay, let's go into this. Okay, I'll come into that too. All right, here we go. So, first of all, Twin Flames. See here, put this on here. Okay, all right. Twin flames. All right, and I'm gonna go into a couple of these. I'm gonna follow through. So first of all, in order to be a twin flame, you have to be a flame. You know, a lot of people want to be having twins, but they don't have the flame. Right? So in order for us to have the flame, that's the only way we can be a twin. There are no twins of clones. So I don't know who asked that question. I don't know in particular who asked that question, but if you have a twin flame, it's going to be somebody who is connected to one of your chakras, right? If you don't know who's connected to your chakra, I mean, because look, you're going to feel different people, you're going to like different people, you're going to, you know, have different attractions to different vibrations in different people, but your twin flame is connected at a chakra level, right, in more than one place, and it's a natural connection. You feel this person before you meet this person, generally. You can see this person in your dreams. Again, there goes that trance state. You can see this person in your thoughts. You can see this person in your dreams. This person is someone that is vibrating. They are with you. So when they come closer to you, you will be able to sense them. You'll be able to recognize them, right? So the twin flame is someone who is really a version of you. Now, there's a lot of false twin flames. There's a lot of people who seem to be acting like they're twin flames, but they're really not twin flames, all right? Somebody who really likes you and really just want to get at you, that doesn't make them a twin. You like the way they dress and the way they, you know, the way they talk, and you feeling what they're on or whatever. That doesn't make them your twin flame. You know, what makes them the twin flame is the chakra connection, because the chakra, the soul system, this chakra circulatory system, this electromagnetic, the chakra system is the melanin clusters that actually connects and collects and collects and collects all the light that creates your physical being, right, your soul body. The electromagnetic field, which is your aura, right? So that aura, you have different personalities in different layers of your aura. So the twin flame is connected at different levels within that aura. So the connection is automatic. That's why you automatically feel them. Now, if you're on point, then your aura is stretching far. Your aura is going mad far. Your aura is going way out there, you know, miles around, right? And then you can, if that person is within your vicinity, then you will sense them. Now, it doesn't even have to be a physical law of distance, because you got to understand, we're dealing in the astral plane. Even right now, we're dealing in the astral plane. So, you know, right now I'm sitting in the room in the house, and I'm talking to people all over the world. So your vibration can travel because there's different means to do that. So you, even if you don't have social media or whatever, but if you're in that trance or that meditative state, then you're able to pick up on the vibration. Now, if you have a twin flame, that's your twin flame, but you are practicing getting your work together, you're doing everything that you need to do, but they're not. They're being lazy. They're not being focused on them. They're eating crazy. They're not worried about no self-development. They're just living life the worst that they can live right now at the possible time. Now, this happened to be a time when you're doing the best. You're doing real good. You're not going to meet that person. You might search, you might get prepared, and a lot of times it takes more than one lifetime to align everything back in order so that you can even be walking on the planet at the same time. These are cosmic contracts. It's not something that you just pull off. These are cosmic contracts. The cosmic contracts, they need to be fulfilled, and they travel with you through different lifetimes. That's why the same is with the soul body, the part of the soul body that knows it's going to leave you at death, right? This is the one that can be seen leaving the tomb, okay? The one that hovers over the body in death. That's the one that is closely connected to the shadow. That's a different one. Your shadow is with you in life, but this being is with you in life too, but it leaves and it goes where it goes, right? So this is the one that you call the ancestors, right? The one that you call the ancestors, which is a version of yourself. You're feeding yourself. That's why you can't fight against yourself, right? You can't fight against yourself. So by feeding the ancestors is about building yourself up to the most powerful version that you can be, the most developed version of self that you can have. That is the best way to feed your ancestors. Now you become a living altar. Now you become a living tool. Now you are the ancestors in the flesh, right? So you get to speak for the ancestors. You get to move for the ancestors, because when the ancestors look at you from that spiritual realm, when they go through that veil, through your meditations, when they talk to you in your meditations, when they speak to you in your meditation, they'll recognize you, which is nothing but you recognizing yourself. So it's basically you taking everything turned around and looking at your damn self. You see yourself. Boom, there you go again. Everywhere you go is you, right? So you want to make sure that you understand that your vibration is always towards self, and that's how you meet your twin flame, is by building yourself up. So when you come around your twin flame, you don't feel like you have to, front. You don't have to, kind of like tell people, how you have to kind of, put parts of yourself in, away so that you can have your significant other, so that thing. So with the twin flame energy, you don't really do that. You never really do that. And it's really like, and so that can cause a problem in a lot of the twin flame relationships, because the people are so much alike that if you don't love yourself, then you're going to get on each other's nerves. And at first, it's really love, love, love. So that's why in the soul contract, usually it's defined that the twin flames don't even rarely meet in person. They rarely meet in person. See, the twin flames are part of the cosmic contract. The cosmic contract, one of the cosmic contracts, is the fact that you will have jewels, tools, keys left for you on this realm, on this plane, that you can discover. They're not going to just, they're going to be sitting there, they're hiding in plain sight, right? You have the option to decide whether you want to deal with it or whether you don't want to deal with it. Nobody going to force you. You can't even force yourself. The decision is yours. That's the only reason why the whole concept is that you are God, because you make all the decisions. I mean, everything is laid out for you to do it, right? Twin flames included. You have different levels of tools, jewels, and keys that are left for you, and a lot of times they're left for you in the formation of people around you, soulmates, twin flames, psychic twins, and a lot of times these energies operate only on the etherical realm. They don't operate, except for the soulmate. The soulmate is usually in person with you. You have the same markings on the body. You have a lot of different significant you have a lot of different ways to tell that you are soulmates. Like, for instance, the body. See, the body leaves markings, physical moles in the same place, okay? Little physical attributes on the body at the same place for both people that are odd. Birthmarks, in the same spot that look the same, odd birthmarks, right? Those type of things are like, multiple markings that end up in the same place on each other, those type of things where you both have the markings there too. Yeah, it does tell. See, sex does tell about that, but the thing about it is that on that level, if the concentration is not on energy, then it can just, because you can create that same type of soulmate energy with somebody who you really just feeling. You know what I'm saying? You can regenerate that by having the sensory perception that you get when you go into the trance state of orgasm. When you go into that orgasmic trance state, that is nothing but sensory absorption. You're absorbing only your senses, right? And the pleasure. And so the different trances, trance inducers, the different things that induce a trance are going to be pleasure, pain, right? Pain is another inducer, fear, and excitement. So when you're excited, you also go into an extreme trance. When you're overly, extremely excited, you go into a trance at that point too, and that's a spin-off of pleasure. and you can be happy, that you see a family member, or you could be happy that you got a check or something. You got the house that you were waiting on. Something could just please you so much. Somebody done made it out the hospital. Something made you so happy that you just you bursting with joy, and you go into an automatic trance, right? So you can go. These are different trance inducers, right? So in that trance induction, you're supposed to take the concentration and create it. So if you can't do that, right, then a lot of the different things that you think are signs of telling you what these jewels, tools, and keys are that are coming in the form of soulmates, twin flames, and psychic twins, you'll get twisted. Because Shorty got a nice body, he got a lot of money, he mad cool, y'all get along, whatever it is, it doesn't necessarily make that person your soulmate. There are chakra connections that are going to make them your twin flame, chakra connections that are going to make them your soulmate. And a lot of times, with the exception of soulmate, you're going to operate on the ethers only with that person. Twin flames, it's an exception where a lot of twin flames do actually operate in the flesh together. Same thing with the psychic twins. Sometimes the psychic twins, they have so much power in their demonstration of self that they actually can link up in the flesh. You know what I'm saying? But most of the design is for self exaggeration. So it's not really about linking up and finding people to link up with. That shouldn't even be really a focus until the demonstration is so powerful, because you don't have to focus on your demonstration coming through, on your other half finding you, because all you have to do is do what you're supposed to do, and your other half is going to be like a magnet. Remember, these are electromagnetic forces. So the electro is the masculine, that one side energy, and the feminine is the pair. So they're going to always attract each other. So you have the two positions, and when you elevate self to a certain level, then you automatically attract you to you, and you're gonna coagulate automatically. So it's not really to focus on finding a twin flame or a soulmate, but only doing anything but develop yourself at the highest point, and then automatically those things are gonna happen. They're charged up. You're charged up. At that point, you're like a charged up magnet, right? You're like a magnet that's charged up to the point to where you yourself can't resist yourself. See, you love yourself at this point so much, right? So much that you fall in love with yourself, that you attract, you exude that energy, that anyone who comes around you also feels the same way about you. The way you speak, the way you carry yourself, the way you handle your business, is going to make other people treat you and kind of do the same thing to you that you're doing to yourself, right? So because you're programming yourself when you go into the natural trance state. So the trance state is being induced and being enforced on you through different means and different ways all the time, right? So what you need to do is go into a trance state on your own, go into a practiced trance state, into a meditative state. And see, a lot of people say they can't meditate. We have problems with meditation or whatever, but meditation is really controlled by your breath. And that's the whole thing with that. It opens up the different channels for you to access different levels of your awareness. And when you do, and that's nothing but the different channels and the different adept levels of yourself. So you want to make sure that you stay on point with that. So you say, yeah. I know it's crazy, but busy, but I still need an intake on a dream. Okay, most definitely. Why is it best to bang on the herb? Well, the thing with the herb and other earth-grown, earthbound substances about that, like the peyote, the different ayahuasca, the different herbs like that are considered to be used in shaman circles. The ones that have no chemical function, the ones mushroom, the thing, those like that. Those are the different substances that come from the earth that are considered to be psychedelic, right? What they do is they DMT, yeah, they pushes you into another a level of awareness, right? So they were used by the priests. The priest always uses them in order to to enhance someone's awareness, to take them to an initiative state, right? So they can go into a trance. And what happens when they do that? They go into a trance. What happens when you go into a trance? The programming can begin for your subconscious access. You don't have access to your subconscious in your conscious state. You only have access to your subconscious when you go into a still state, right? Once you still yourself. And once you still yourself, and you can access your subconscious being, and when you access your subconscious being, you can program the reality that you want in the physical realm. Anything that you want, anything that you want. If you feel like it's money that you need, money that you want, you can attract wealth and finances to yourself. If it's sex, if it's people, if it's those things, you can induce anything, because all things are within you. All things come from you, so you can pull all those things to yourself. But it all starts with going into a trance. If you don't go into a trance, you can't start a trance, you can't end the trance, then you'll be put into a trance and programmed by other programmers other than self. And that's what you don't want. Because if you're going to be a self-supremist, you need to program Delph, program self. You can't let somebody else program, because that's what they're going to do. They're going to put the colors where they go. You're going to see the colors put up all over the place, right? You're going to see the different imagery go up all over the place, right? You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you do that. And it's not really about those tools, right? Because those tools can become crutches too. So you don't want to be thinking it's all about herb or all about a different tool, right? It's not about those tools. Come under the guidance of a priest. Those tools come under the guidance of a ritual. Those tools come under the guidance of a ritual ceremony, right? So you don't want to just be getting on a tool, using a tool to be able to do things that you can do on your own. That's like me, seeing a crutch over here, and I just start using the crutch when there's nothing wrong with me. Or like I sit down in the wheelchair in the hospital because I don't want to stand up and there's no more seats, and I just sit down in the wheelchair and take on all that wheelchair illness on myself, the sickness of whoever was sitting in the wheelchair. So you don't want to do that. You don't want to just start doing those things just because of that. You want to make sure that you are only using those under the right guidance of how you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to be doing it. Now, the herb, make your own decision on that. Open up. But see, they all go into different levels of the brain, right? So the brain is broken up into 7 circuits of the brain. The 7 circuits of the brain are 7 different trance states. The 7 circuits of the brain are 7 different trance states. Okay, each of these trance states, each of these circuits they're connected to, they actually they make up the central nervous system. Each of these trance states, they compile together, they make up the central nervous system. Okay, so the central nervous system is made up from these different 7 circuits in the brain that are at the top of the brain stem. Okay, the top of the brain stem. Okay, so you have those 7 different levels going all the way up to the brain, right? This controls the central nervous system, and the central nervous system is connected to the chakra circulatory system. Now, the chakra system is how you get all your emotions, how your actually physical body is created because of the attraction of light, right? From those electromagnetic melanin clusters that actually attract the light and put it and hold it in place in your spine, right inside of you. So that's where your willpower is. That's where your personality is saved. So the baby comes in, being fully aware of everything except for how to talk to you. The baby knows how to eat. The baby knows exactly when to eat and where to eat from. The baby figures that out quick. He knows that the baby knows that if the baby cries, you're gonna bust him over real quick. The baby knows. The baby comes fully aware. The baby didn't come in not knowing anything. The baby comes automatically in that state. Now, another time that you go into a trance is when you're eating, right? So when you're eating, you're in a trance, right? When you eat, you're in a trance. So, the trance is the program. That's what you do. You go into the trance state in order to program the subconscious mind. And when you eat, that's another way for you to go into a trance. Think about it. When you're eating some of your favorite food, what happens? You go into a zone. Somebody could be talking to you. You don't even hear any of that. You're like, huh? When you say I didn't hear you, you know, you're eating your food, right? So you have the eating when you go into a trance. But what happens when you're eating foods that are going to program you after the food is digested, right? That has to pass through all of the 7 circuits. That food that has to pass through all the circuits is going to program a little bit of yourself. A little bit of yourself is going to be programmed by all that food, and then it's going to come out in your activity. Okay, so the same thing happens with when the baby is born. The first sense that the baby is aware of is the sense of smell, right? Because it smells the mother. It knows what the mother smells like, right? Then closely after that is the sense of sound, right? The next are the eyes. The eyes and the mouth are right. So it's first like that. So you have a total of the different sensory perceptions, right? The sensory perceptions that come on the face, the Godhead, this is the Godhead. So the Godhead actually controls all the senses, right? It controls all the senses. So that's why when you let anything come into any of your senses by something that you smell, if it's funky, your senses lock up automatically. You associate that smell with funk, and so you always, anytime you think that smell is going to be around, you dip. You'd be like, oh, you're trying to get the hell out of there because you know the smell's coming, right? That's your senses. It entered into your senses. That's programming yourself, right? So being uncomfortable, that puts you in a trance, right? If you're miserable, that's going to put you in a trance. If you're excited, that's going to put you in a trance. If you're eating the best food, see, it's not just about you being upset. It's about you being miserable, right? These are extreme states that put you into that trance. So if you want to go into a trance, then, one thing that you want to do is you want to work with stilling the mind like a child. A child is always moving around, but they're always calm. Even when they're hyper, they're calm. They don't be, until the only problem that a child's going to have with you is when you try to take from them. See, a child they come fully programmed with the sense of self-awareness, right? They know exactly what's theirs. They know exactly what they want to keep. They're going to make sure that they get theirs. They don't care where you are. They don't care who around. They don't care if you had it first. They want it, and they're gonna let you know, and they're gonna let you know what it is. So the children, they're aware, they're come fully programmed, but they don't get unprogrammed or deprogrammed until we start teaching them the different cultures and breaking them out of that. Man, you ain't lying. Breastfeed and let me walk away and call it a radar. Yeah, see, because and you know what? It doesn't matter if you are in the court. It doesn't matter if you're in the school. It doesn't matter if you're in the grocery store. The child's going to demand what it is. So this is how man is broken down. Man is broken down into different aspects. It's different levels of self with man, right? So some of these aspects all of these aspects travel with man throughout his whole entire life. They don't ever leave. Okay, they don't ever leave. Like for instance, when a baby is born, a baby is vulnerable, right? The baby's vulnerable. Every damn thing can harm. If the wind blows too hard, the baby could get colic. If the wrong person touches the baby could get sick. If you sneeze around the baby could get sick. If if the house is not clean, like baby in the house clean, the baby could get sick. Everything is, you have to put the baby in like a whole bunch of nice, perfect car seat. The baby is vulnerable in every single level, right? People staring at the baby, people calling the baby's name. See, on the spiritual level, this is the Western. I don't know why the Western culture wants to tell you to name the baby and tell everybody the name. That's not how indigenous cultures have done it, where everybody is able to call the name of the baby. See, the baby in the beginning has a name that is representative, that everybody knows, right? But the baby also has a private name in the house, in the family, so the baby is aware of the fact that they need to be able to use different vibrations. They're supposed to be able to use different vibrations and use different names. You don't want to be. See, that's one of the souls, the level of the soul. One of the soul, the layers of the soul is your name, right? So your true name. So what is your true name? So is your true name the one that they call your government? Is that your true name? Is that your true name? You know what I'm saying? If that's your true name, it might be, you know what I'm saying, the vibration always evolves. So as you evolve, the vibration of your name should do the same thing. If you don't have a teacher, go into a trance and get your teacher. Your teacher's there waiting on you. If you can go into a trance, if you're ready, the teacher's going to appear. People are going to pop up. You're going to start finding them. They're going to start finding you. The information is going to find you. But you have to be able to put yourself in a shut the hell up zone. You have to put yourself in a silent space. You have to put yourself in that place. If you do that, and you can put your ego aside and understand that there's an agenda to get things done, then you'll be able to produce self-power, self-supremacy. And then you don't have to worry about, I mean, do you give a fuck about your grandkids? Do you care about them for real? I mean, because, you know, we talking about generational wealth. I mean, yo, you doing all right, you doing good for yourself. You got houses and cars, you got all kind of shit popping, right? But what about your brothers, your sisters? What about them? What about your cousins and them? What about your aunties and uncles? Who, you know, they getting old, so they didn't really count right now. We talking about what about your little cousins? Do they got that shit? How many of them? 2 of them? 3 of them? What about generational wealth? You can't place wealth on something that somebody else controls. If somebody else controls it, you can't really call it wealth. You can call it a luxury, you can call it a benefit or something like that, but they control it, so you can't really say it's wealth. Wealth is your willpower is your greatest asset. Your best wealth is your willpower. What you will and won't do, what you decide that you want for yourself, what you will and won't do. That's what wealth really is. You know, so your willpower is actually telling you that you want to figure out how to go into a shut the hell up zone, how to go into a trance so that you can program your life. Stop struggling, stop stressing, stop bugging out. It makes no sense. How are you children of gods? How are you children of gods and nobody can fucking tell? How is it that we can have the most messed up situations and nobody can just be like, yo, those are the children of God? You know what I'm saying? The children of God is that you are God and a child of yourself because you are self-producing. You produce everything that you want. You can do anything that you want. You can be anything that you want. You can have anything that you want. You can go anywhere that you want. Nothing can stop you. I mean, what the fuck? What's the problem? So why don't we elevate ourselves to a higher level? It's because we don't do things on a consistent basis. We're not doing things on a regular basis. So you got to be able to break bread. So if you are doing things on a regular basis, because everybody doesn't fall in that category. If you are doing things on a regular basis, and I'm talking about every day, right? I'm talking about every day. There ain't no breaks, right? Do you ever take a day without going to the toilet? Do you ever take a day without, you know, putting some food in your belly? You don't take breaks when it comes to that. So why would you want to take a break on for your? Because I asked you about grandchildren. Everybody like, yeah, you know, grandchildren. You know, if you see every move that you make is eternal, that's how come you're the God. How the hell you walk around calling yourself God? You don't know you're eternal. You're eternal through your thoughts. Your thoughts are living entities, living beings. Who do you think is going to be the ones that's around when you're you who really kind of sort of kind of didn't really develop yourself on the ether plane when you transition, right? You got a little bit of self, you know, you could have probably did a little bit better, but you know, you did your thing. Who do you think is there dealing with your ancestors in your stead? Your thought form entities are the ones that are still there handling all that you left for them because you put them into place. You focused your will. You were able to actually build them up and make them strong so that when you actually transition, they would be there helping out and doing you. Thought form entities. Okay, so your actions are eternal, your thoughts are eternal, so you are the eternal, the future ancestor. You are the ancestor now. You are the one that they're going to talk about. You are the one that they're going to be remembering. And your actions have to be louder than your words. You know what I mean? So that means you have to develop yourself every day. You got to practice on yourself every single day. You have to invest your time. You gotta invest your money. You gotta invest your willpower. You gotta move stuff around. You gotta be like, yo, I have to do this. You have to move stuff or shuffle stuff around. You gotta put yourself in an uncomfortable position. Why do you think in any martial art, once you learn any martial art, it's uncomfortable as hell? You ever watch the movies when the training is going on? You think they love training? You think they enjoy training? It's always uncomfortable. If you want to be a master of yourself, you have to go through an uncomfortable process, rigorous training, which means that the rigorous training is going to be a part of your pockets may hurt. Just like when you want to buy that car, you sitting there, you know, putting all your money up because you want to rock that new whip. You know what I mean? You put your money up, so you may have to invest in yourself. You may have to put some stuff into yourself to be able to make sure that you can get what you need. You know, you can't take a break. You know, enhancing yourself, educating yourself. Never take a break. Real life, you know. So you just want to always be on point. Always make sure, you know, even when you so-called mess up, because they so-called say you so-called messed up. Those are experiences that you earned. You earned the right to fuck up. You can do that. You can mess up. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes you can mess up. But the times that you know you don't have to do it like that, you don't have to do it like that. I mean, what is it that you're putting out there, the thought form entities? Do you want your thought form entities to come back and to fight against you? Right? Because that's what they'll do. Right? So when your children are growing up, right, and they, you know, they have something going on, they can't get it going on, when they wonder what's happening, it's because your thought form entities, you think your thought form entities disappear once you stop thinking about them? I mean, how strong when you go into the trance states, right? The trance state, one of them is what? Anger. Anger is one of them. So when you're angry, you pissed off, you mad, you start saying stuff, you create the thought form entity. That thing is alive, especially if it happens all the time. That thing is alive, and when it's alive, it comes back to affect your being, your children, you know, your bloodline, yourself. It comes back to where it came from, the thought form entity. So you want your thought form entities that you create to make sure that you are eternal, so that even when you have to leave, it comes back to you. You know what I'm saying? The energy comes back. You don't have to be here. Your children is dope. They strong. Everybody wonder how they get money. See, right now, everybody love to talk about how there was a science that put on them from back in the day when, you know, somebody put a curse on the whole family and they can't get this right, they can't get that right. But what about all the stories when the stuff, when the blessing, when the actual power and willpower was actually put into action so that everybody did good? You don't know about that? Are you not going to be the one to set it off then to where your children's children, you may not have no damn kids, but guess what? You got brothers and sisters and you got homies that you want to make sure people is dope around you, that they know what time it is. And the only best way for them to do that is to see you do it. Because then when you do it, they be like, damn, you too? You getting, what are you doing? What are you on? So it's all about self-supremacy. You know, when I take this, you know, I have love in my heart, you know, for my family members, for, you know, you love your parents, right? You love your children, you love your siblings, right? You love your grandparents like that, but your love only means so much. It don't really mean everything. It has a limit. It has a clear limit, clear limit, right? The love that you have for anybody has a clear limit. Now, if somebody pull a gun out on one of your children, you would more than likely jump in front of the gun. There's no limit when it comes to that, right? But if your daughter, who happened to be a little girl, drinks a whole gallon of water, you're never going to have to go pee. Even though you love the hell out of her, even though you love her so much, you're never going to be able to be like, yo, I'm going to go pee for you. Your love is irrelevant. Certain things come down to the individual. It comes down to what you have to do yourself, and she has to go use the restroom herself. You can't go do it for her, even though you love her. She can't hold it. Y'all on the train, she can't hold it. You like, man, please, if I could just go hold it for you. You can't hold it for her. She has to do it herself. Your love is irrelevant, right? So the thing is that love for self is the key. So that's when you teach your children. You teach your children love for self. You teach them. Children are selfish. You ever meet a child that's not selfish? Children are selfish as hell. Children are mean too. They're loving though at the same time. They have that natural sense of love. But children at the same time, small children, I'm talking about small children, before they get influenced, right? Because they're really influenced by the age of 2. So if you watch children under the age of 2, right? Children, they are They want what they want, when they want it, right? They know about the science of self-preservation. You know what I mean? So you want to preserve self. You want self to be preserved at all time. They come programmed already. So you want to be able to preserve self, because if you don't preserve self, then what's going to happen is you're going to be programmed by another form. That's why the children have the open activated pineal gland. They have the open activated, but by the time you hit 13 and you hit puberty, at that point it's automatically starting to calcify. And when it calcifies, you have to do the exercises, you have to do the different work, put in the work to actually make it to where it opens back up. And if it doesn't ever close fully, they're gonna be extra dope. And see, the children that are being born now, they're being born with a whole different science. They got a whole different type of different level of science that they're working. You know, the type of science that they're working right now, you know, when we were little, they was like, don't play with plastic bags and don't, you know, hold pencils like sharp ends in your hand. And then, you know, these shorties nowadays, man, they know how to handle pencils, and they can just do what they do. They know how to. They don't worry about plastic bags and smothering and all of that. Y'all remember that back in the day, smothering? Them little kids don't be worried about no smothering nowadays, man. They know how to work computers when they first born. They come out ready, know how to swipe and go and do everything on your phone like you do. Quick as hell. Look at like what these little kids is dope. They come out superpower, right? So if you can feed them from the time they're little, this is for even if you don't have children, but you know how to broadcast energy. See, your energy, you are nothing but an antenna. You're an antenna. You broadcast energy everywhere. Everything you do is a broadcast of energy, because you are a beam of light. You are a star. See, this is about star seed, right? And if you have a breath in your body, you're taken from that natural symbiotic cosmic relationship. It's a cosmic contract that your lungs are going to actually breathe in and inhale, because see, at first you came in aquatic. You came in aquatic. You were in the womb aquatically, right? You were in the womb aquatically. And then when you came out, you started functioning with your lungs and started breathing the oxygen, right? That's the problem right there. That's why you have to learn the specialized breathing, because the oxygen is what in the beginning it's okay. It's a problem because you're not used to it. But as you get older, you forget what it is, and everybody start hyperventilating, breathing from the upper chest. So you want to deepen the breath and lubricate the spine, so that, and see, by doing that, you get over all your past, all your stresses, all your you know, you get over the personal hangups and the different things that hold you back. You can do that because you learn how to smooth your breath out. So you too congested with breath. You know what I mean? You don't let your breath flow. That's why you too congested. Like, you don't really let things just flow through. You ever had air come to you and try to hold it in, right? You ever had an emotion? See, this is what you're doing. You're letting emotions come to you, and you're letting emotions come to you, and the emotions are supposed to come to you and pass through you, right? But instead, what's happening, the emotions are coming to you, and then you like them a lot. You feel like these shits is dope. So you fall in love with somebody, which is cool, but you try to own it. You try to make sure like it's your love, so when the love is over, you hold on to the love, and then you got beef, and you hold on to it for years. It could be years and years and years. You hold on to the love, and it's create blockage, and that's nothing but poison, right? So then you have a next thing where you have, you know, hatred. You know, somebody can do something to you, they do you something, and then you want to hate them, and then you hate them for the rest of your life, and you can, every time their name come up, you just, you can't stand it the rest of your day, toe up, because you heard that person's name, you don't want to hear, and they mention it, and the people that said it were laughing and talking like, this is a cool mother, you can't stay, you like, man, it just made you so mad. Poison to your soul is blocking you, so you can't hate. You can hate. Cool, you can hate, but hate is supposed to have a life expectancy. It passes through you just like air. You ever had air that wanted to pass through your body, and you'd be like, not gonna, I'm gonna hold this air. I ain't gonna let this air out. I'm gonna keep this air. I like this air. This is my air. This is my air. I ain't gonna let it out. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna have to release the air. If you hold the air in, you're gonna die. Same thing with the emotions. You have to let the emotions flow. You have to let them go. Don't worry about your temper. You got a temper, then you need to learn how to shut the hell up zone. That's called AKA trance. Shut the hell up zone, right? And that doesn't mean just for this mouth. It means with this one in here, because as you talking, you know, as you stop trying to meditate, and then your brain starts running, you got to tell your brain you need to go and shut the hell up mode. You just need to be quiet. You need to go down to the zone where your brain doesn't talk anymore, where you can program yourself, and then you get that way by lubricating your spine through with the oxygen and the specialized breathing. That's how you do it. So you have techniques. You have techniques, you know, that run the program. You have techniques that run the program. You know what I'm saying? So you want to make sure that you're doing it like that. You know what I'm saying? Breathing, that's how you so, you know. Self-discipline, yes. Self-discipline. You want to make sure that you are always self-disciplined. And that means that even if you do things in a way that people don't agree with, a way that's disagreeable, because that's what you already are. I mean, it's already proven that you're disagreeable because you're alive here now. I mean, what you thought? You thought you was like, you know, something agreeable? No, we're all disagreeable. That's why we're here. That's why we're in this place of illusionary manifestation. That's why you have to fight to resurrect yourself. That's why you got to get to that level. So there's no point blaming people and being anything, because we all are in the same type of shit. Like, you know, the only thing you can do is really fight to evolve yourself. And hopefully if the people around you are smart enough, then they'll help to evolve themselves. And then if everybody's smart enough, then you will join forces and evolve each other. That's the only way to do it. If you can spark off each other, you take energy from the people that are next to you, building energy off of with each other willingly. You know what I'm saying? When they say, yo, you know, this is, you know, you do it in synchronization. So you do it through ceremony. You know what I'm saying? What's up, leader? Big up, big up. What's good? What's good? If you have, like, you know, synchronized ceremony, right, where you have the thought process, the synchronized thought process that's focused, go to the same place to cause the same thing. Agreement. You know what I'm saying? Agreement. So through agreement and through synchronized thinking, through synchronized breathing, through synchronized trance, then you're able to change the subconscious on a major level, on a holistic level, by keeping the energy smooth. And see, that's why you want to have groups. You know, that's why you want to have groups of people doing the same thing, because when you have groups of people doing the same thing with the same focus, then the energy is being broadcast. One is strong by himself, but many together is way stronger. For the broadcast, for the cosmic agenda. The agenda is self-supremacy, right? All right, bless up, leader. I'm glad you came through, though. What's good with you? I'm about to close down, too. So, but you know, the broadcast, you want the broadcast of the energy, the frequency is self-supremacy, self-power. You just want to live. That's what most people just want, right? All this damn space on the earth. You just want to live somewhere, you know, have your family, have the things that you like. Maybe you want to travel, but you just want peace. You don't really want all that bullshit. You just trying to live and be easy. You know what I'm saying? How come it got to be so hard? Because that ain't really what time it is. Right now we in war. You know what I'm saying? Right now you're in a war for self-supremacy. There are forces that want to run you. They want to basically control you, and they're self-afflicting most of the time. Most of the time they're energies that you created for yourself. Most of the time they're energies that you caused, you know, to exist in the first place by thoughts that you had. You know, these energies follow you. These energies follow you through daytime, nighttime. They follow you through different lifetimes. You know what I'm saying? And it's just really a matter of fact like that. So, you know, keeping yourself abreast, on what you're doing and talking to the different levels of yourself. Going into a trance is really easy. There's a specialized breath in particular that you'll get, and those of y'all that are in the courses, y'all know, you know, what those are. But you want to make sure, especially right now, especially during this month, right? There's no full moon, right? So the trance works. The programming is ridiculous, stupid. So, you know, hopefully you understand what that science is all about. You know what I mean? But you want to make sure that you stay on point with that. And I'm gonna. So yeah, but that's what it is. So there's supposed to be a Let me open up the floor. Let me see. I think I'm about to shut this down. It's been real, y'all. I mean, too grand go, eh? You see me belly. Look for yum yum. So it's been real. And get with y'all. Anybody who missed the science, the replay will be up. All right? You'll be able to catch the replay. It's going to be a weekly show. It's probably not going to be this long. This is a kind of an extra long one. But don't worry, the beginning of the flow was real nice, so you in for a treat. So if you missed it, make sure you catch the beginning. All right? All right, holla later. Peace and love. Ashe. Oh, man, definitely. See, I got to touch on that one. Okay? You know, definitely, you know, the power in numbers, you can still definitely benefit from sex magic being alone. All right? That's actually where the strongest level of sex magic exists, is in the single cultivation. The single cultivation, right? Single cultivation. You want to cultivate self before you link with anybody else. How you going to link with somebody else when you don't have yourself cultivated properly? Right? Because then what's going to happen is somebody going to put that thing on you, you ain't going to be able to handle it, and then you're going to put too much energy on you, you're going to go crazy, right? The energy has to be self-built up to a certain point, right? You can't just be jumping around doing all kind of shit, you know. So, like, self-cultivation is where all the power comes from. You get the power from self. Once you're able to control self and you're able to go into a trance state and focus. See, if you can focus through orgasm, because see, orgasm, all you have in that sensory perception, the absorption of sensory perception, you're just absorbing all your senses, the pleasure senses, right? So in orgasm, if you can focus on a thought, if you can focus on a particular idea that you had in your mind, you know, go up to that point, you know what I'm saying, that you led up to that point, then you will be able to create that thing through orgasm, which is the focus. That's the sex magic. Sex magic is basically creating and conceiving, conceiving situations and circumstances with your sexual energy. So you're gonna have that energy working by yourself, you know, before you work with anybody else, because you don't want to be wasting your energy on somebody who doesn't know how to even leave, you know, their body. If they can't leave their body, then they're really not going to be useful to you when it comes to manifesting, because that means if they can't leave their body, that means their words most of the time will end up leaving. Okay, the words will end up leaving their mouth, and ain't shit gonna happen. All right. So you want to be able to go all the way out there when you talk. You want your words to be able to, you know, create and build you, because your thought process has to be, you know, your thought process has to be strong enough to build. So, you know, the self magic is the strongest, because if you go to someone else who has stronger magic, so to speak, or self-control, which is really the essence of all magic, is self-control, right? So if you have someone who has stronger self-control or stronger magic, who's able to go into a trance, and they're in a trance, and you see them go into trance, and then they come tell you some dope shit, and you like, yo, what does that mean? Or something like that, or like you want them to explain it to you, right? Something along those lines. That's because you can't go into a trance yourself. So sex magic wouldn't really be as dope for you. You would have to really go into a trance yourself to get to know yourself, to get to be on your level. To when you go in your trance, you be seeing shit and people be like, damn, what you see? Because you ever ask somebody what they laughing at when they look, it's kind of like when, you know, that part of yourself is activated when somebody reminds you of some dirt that you did and you laugh, right? That natural self. You know, you be trying to act like you are holier than thou, righteous and everything, but you know, the part of yourself that laughs when you did that dirty, that grimy thing right there. You know, you laugh it off. You be like, you know, that's the real you, right? That's the version of you that's supposed to be creating anything that you create. That's the version of you that's supposed to create that thing. Sex magic is you using your life force energy to conceive a situation or a circumstance, right? So, you know, you have life force energy that moves through your vessel, through your body vessel at all times. It moves through your vessel, right? You call it horny. You say it's horny. Horny is nothing but the hormone is just referring to the hormone of of uh, estrogen or testosterone, right? So all the organs in the body, every single organ in the body produces those hormones, and they all produce it at the exact same time. And they all send it and shoot it directly to the sex center, and that's why it's called horny, because it's the influx of the rushing of the hormones, and it's coming from everywhere at the same time. This is a self-exaggerating, self-existing hormone, right? So the self-existing hormone, you know, it goes directly to the sex center, right? And when that happens, you're supposed to create. Now, that's the beginning of sex magic. It doesn't mean that you're supposed to do anything physically sexual. What it means is that you're supposed to take that energy, that creative life force energy, and to channel it towards a situation or a circumstance. You put it into existence by you controlling the energy. You build the energy up and you control it instead of releasing it. Instead of releasing it, you build it up and you guide it. If you do release it, you guide it when you release it. Right? That's the sex magic. So you're doing that a lot by yourself. You're doing that more by yourself than you are with anyone else. Peace to the God you love and light. Yes. Yeah, because you're going to go into an automatic trance at that state too. And that's where you can command and program the subconscious being. You can make things happen at that point. You can say, this is what you want. This is what you need. If it's money, if it's, you know, but you have to make sure. See, the thing about it is that make sure that your thoughts are and your energies are pure enough to be able to bring back only what you're asking for. You don't want it to bring back a whole bunch of other stuff. It's just like doing a spell and asking the spirit to do something for you, and then the spirit ends up, you know, doing something else that you didn't ask for, something extra, because you didn't be specific enough. You weren't specific enough. So in doing sex magic, you want to make sure that your energy is fluid enough, that it's fluid enough so that it can actually move, you know, through the realms to bring back what it has to bring back, right? And so it's so important that you do this by yourself first, because the chances that you really find somebody who's going to practice with you is good. I mean, you're not going to really have a hard time finding somebody who say they're going to try to practice with you, but your focus has to be so strong that you know what it does. That's where you'll be able to tell who's who. You'll be able to tell who's actually, you know, just talking and who actually has the focus to be able to do that, you know. So, you know, wherever you are, whatever you're doing, by doing the self science first, that's how you're going to pick up on that vibration. You know what I'm saying? You're going to do the self thing first and pick up on it wherever you are, whatever you're supposed to be doing, whoever you're supposed to do it with, it's going to naturally evolve and take form, and it's going to do what it do. Now, the form of creation, you know, you create sexually without physical contact too. You sexually create through writing. You can create sexually through that. It doesn't have to be a sexual based writing either. You take that sexual energy and you can put it into music. You can put it into your writing. You can put it into your pictures. You can draw that energy anywhere you want. You can put that energy into anything that you want to put it into. And it doesn't have to be based on sexuality. It's the life force energy. See, the orgasmic energy is transcendental. It takes you to the trance state automatically. The trance state is the natural state where you want to be at. Okay? That's the natural state where you want to be at. You ever watch the baby look into the mother's eyes? They just stare when the baby's eating, breastfeeding, the baby's in a trance. That's the natural state. That's the state that you want to be at. The natural instruction. See, that's the baby feeding. And that's what you want to do to the cosmos. You want to feed. You want to breastfeed off the earth. You want to breastfeed. You want to have the type of relationship with the earth, like the earth, literally. I'm talking about the trees. I'm talking about, literally the earth, the ground that you walk on. You want to have that type of relationship where you are symbolically breastfeeding with it. Because when you breathe in, are you taking a little punk-ass breath from the top of your chest? Or are you deeply breathing from the bottom, deep down? Are the trees filling your breath? Do the trees recognize you when you breathe? Or do the trees basically be like, man, you take a little punk-ass breath. They don't worry about his breath. You smoking cigarettes or doing all this. They don't care about your breaths. Do the trees care about your breathing? Or do you matter? Or are they basically, that's how you can tell what it is. Your breath, the depth of your breath will let you know how connected you are to the earth around you. Are you breastfeeding off of the earth? Are you connected to the cosmos, right? Do you know yourself? And the things around you, do you know that? If you know yourself and you know the things around you, you're going to be able to, if you have a hard time sticking to it and staying concentrated to it, it's because you're not breathing deep. When you breathe shallow, you have hesitation in your actions. When you breathe shallow, you have hesitation. Not only do you have hesitation, but you have back and forthness. You'd be like, yo, changing your mind a lot, doing all of that, because your breath is too shallow. You get deep in your breath. You got to make your breath go much deeper. You got to make your breath go much deeper. If your breath goes much deeper, then automatically you're going to have that science right there. You're going to have that. You're going to have that pure concentration of will. You're going to start talking things and saying things that are going to start happening. You're going to start having, when you say something, it's going to come back to you. Like you say, you're looking for a job. You know what I'm saying? You're saying you're going to look for a job. Guess what the job going to do? The job going to pull exactly back, is going to come to you. The job is going to find you. The job is going to see exactly where you are, and you're going to get that job. Now, if you are saying that you're looking for, love, and you exude love from yourself, that's what it is. So you go into a trance, and you can even find out what the person that you're attracting to yourself looks like. You can see them. You can hear them. You already know the answers. What the hell are you waiting for? What the hell are you waiting for? You waiting for somebody else to tell you. You waiting for the person to come pop up out the blue. You go in the trance and find out for your damn self. Go in the trance, sit there, cool out, chill, and look and see what it looks like for yourself. Then, when you go to a reader, see if they confirm it. You go to maybe one or two, test them out, see if they say the same thing about certain things, right? And that's how you test yourself, and you get off the crutch of constant self-awareness. Self-awareness is not where you want to be at. You want to lose the self-awareness and connect to the I and I. That's what the trees, that's what they come from, the connection of the trees. And what I mean by the depth of your breath, you want to be connected to the I and I. You got to detach from the self-awareness, because there's only one, right? Everything else is going to be destroyed, just like you. When you go to that bathroom every day, there's only one of you that goes in there, and the rest of that is going somewhere else. Right? There's only one of you. Rest of that ain't got nothing to do with you, and that's a part of you since you came here. You can't have man without waste. That's one of the aspects of man, by the way. You know what I'm saying? Man wastes every damn thing. Man has wasted everything from the time he was a baby. Man wastes everything. See, man wastes everything from the time he's a baby. He don't waste everything, but he's gonna waste something every single day. They had to, can you imagine when they first had to invent diapers? They first had to be like, yo, hold on, man, we gotta figure out something, because that's gonna happen. And it got to the point when you think they had indoor plumbing, like when they got to the point, you think how happy, can you imagine the shift of happiness that it was before they had indoor plumbing? Because man includes waste. Wherever man is gonna go at, there's gonna be some damn waste. Vulnerability, man is gonna always be vulnerable. People love to play the tough role. Okay, you could be a tough, bad motherfucker. You could be a bad, tough person, right? But you're vulnerable because you have a heart. The heart beats, right? You have lungs. The lungs breathe, right? You're vulnerable by energies attaching to you from, radioactive energies. You have all these different energies that make you vulnerable for a whole bunch of different reasons, right? So, you know, you have to make sure that's another level that follows you. Also, the fact that you spend your energy. You always spend your energy. You build your energy up and then you deplete. You got to have rest and recharge. But you're going to eat, get your energy all the way up, all the way up, all the way up. You're going to run around, do whatever you want to do. Then you're going to tire down and you're going to go sleep and recharge. That's the aspect of man. That's happened since you were a baby. It's going to happen until the day you transition to the ancestor realm. You will always do that. These are the things that I'm talking about. I want you to just go into your meditation, your trance state, and think about for yourself. I'm not going to tell you all of them. I want you to think about it for yourself and try to figure out what some of those ways are. What are some of the things that you carry with yourself from since the time you were a baby to the time you'll take your grave? What are some of those things I already told you? You're vulnerable. Another thing is that you're always going to have waste. Another thing is that you will, what to say? You're vulnerable. Your man always has waste. And whatever the hell the third thing is, I know y'all heard me. Okay, it slipped my mind right quick. All right, but I want you to think about the sleep and recharge thing, right? You're gonna sleep and need to recharge, right? You're gonna sleep and need to recharge. You're gonna need to eat and recharge, right? So it's the same thing. Your spirit body does the same thing. Your spirit body needs to sleep, it needs to fill up itself, and needs to rest, right? So what you do is you take a trance, you go into a trance to recharge, right? You recharge your spirit body. Yeah. So I see you. What's up, Aya? How you doing? Bless up in the building. I'm just getting ready to close the cipher down right now, but I'm glad you came through. What's good with you? So you have the different ciphers that you want to go through within yourself. You want to make sure that you know exactly what you're doing, what the cipher is, how you're moving the cipher, and how you actually are going between different levels of awareness with yourself. If you don't, then you're just going to basically be doing anything, and your thought form entities are going to fade out probably quicker than you do. You know what I'm saying? The thought form entities, you don't want your thought form entities to fade out. You want your thought form entities to last longer than you do. Okay? You want your thought form entities to last longer than you do. You want to expire before your thought form entities do. You want your thought form entities to be walking around with your children, taking care of them. Thought form entities. You want your thought form, because you know what's going to happen, right? Your thought form entities, they don't die. They will last longer than you unless they're weak. But when you build them up, see, the thing is what's happening is that you create these thought form entities. Maybe you did it with somebody else, right? You had sex with them mentally, you copulated, you got in an argument, which is a form of sexual copulation, argument. That's why some couples get together, all they do is fight. They're sexual. They are copulating, they are conceiving thought form entities. They're conceiving thought form entities by doing that. So these thought form entities are being created, and if you don't control, you have to feed. They're like babies, right? So they're gonna go through the process of toddler, badass 2-year-old, to like all the way up to, teenager, badass teenager, all the way up to a grown. And so eventually you leave them alone, they like runaways. So they out there in the world running around. So these are the energies I talked about the other day on the other video, with them waiting at the womb for unprotected babies. If your baby is not protected from your thought form, from your protective barrier, right? And how do you know that? Is you going to wait for somebody to come tell you if your baby is protected? You have to know from your own control, of your own aura and things like that, and your own trance state, meditative state, what's going on with you. All right. So, the thought form entity, you wanted to outlive your physical body, right? And you want it to be around. So what's going to happen is when you create the thought form entity, it if it's strongly built, what's going to happen is if you let it be a runaway, right, and it got up and you left it alone, you didn't, it came around other people, it had a full life. It's like a son that you didn't take care of, and you just turned your back, and then you're going to run into him one day. You have friends and family and all kind of stuff going on. So this right here, this is the same thing with your thought form entities. The thought form entities, they're walking the earth. So you have people who basically don't have those thoughts or whatever, and the thoughts just basically run into a new owner, and they get along, and the person feeds the thought, and the thoughts gets bigger, stronger, start to get some meat on its bones, so to speak. It gets a little bit more powerful, and then the person maybe spreads the thought a little bit more, and they feed the thought more and all of that. But when you, the originator, the creator of this thought form entity, when you get ready to transition to the next realm of the ancestors, that thought form entity is going to be there to meet you. Now, if you did it the other way and you built the thought form entity up, you took care of it, you fed it, you did all that you were supposed to do. When you go to that transitional point, you pass the thought form entity to your offspring, to your children. If you don't have children, you pass it to your down who's going to take care of it, and they serve that entity as a being who controls the fate in certain favors of their life. And you can create this with your own thoughts. This is your thought form, but you have to guard your thoughts, and you have to be able to go into the trance to be able to kick out all the extra excessive bullshit that's in there getting in the way. Yes, everything we do is always sex. Thought form entities. How can I dream again? It's been a while. Okay, so if you want to dream, if you want to work on dreaming, okay, you can work with the different herbs that are good for dreams. Bay leaves are known to be for dreams. Bay leaves are known for dreams. Okay, put bay leaves. You pray over the bay leaves, speak what you want. Over the dream. Some people even write on the bay leaf what they want. You put it under your pillow and you sleep. And dreams come. Bay leaves are real good for that. What'd you say please for? So that's just one herb. Bay leaves are good for thought form entities. For dreams. Belladonna, if you can get your hands tracked down belladonna, that's a really good one. You know, um, there's a whole bunch of different herbs that you could get for that right there. Taking chamomile, you know, um, valerian root, you know, by taking those herbs before you go to bed and taking them in a series, and also detoxifying, and doing that. Obviously there's spiritual things that we could talk about off air, but I'm just telling you certain things you could do to actually kind of enhance the dream state. Yeah, belladonna. Okay, no doubt, no doubt on the dreams. I got you. Yeah, the belladonna. That's a secret herb right there. Hope you better write that down because you need to remember that one. Okay. Uh, Make sure you have that. But see, there's a special application to the belladonna. You can't just use the belladonna any kind of way. It goes to the navel, belly button, and it's dealing with that 10th degree. Okay, it's dealing with the 10th degree because you have the 7 degrees of the Godhead right here, right? The Godhead is the 7 hole. The 7, is the Godhead, right? Then you have the nipples, 8 and 9. The belly button is 10. Okay, so in the system, the chakra circulatory system, the body was designed to actually be a frequency. The body was designed. Peace, God. Peace, God. I see you. What's happening, Elias? Right. So the body was designed to be able to give a certain frequency off. Right. Um, so peace, Sapphire. How you doing? The body was designed to give off certain frequencies, so it has certain type of design to it, right? So you have, dealing with supreme mathematics. You find certain sequential numbers that rotate over and over and over again in the design of the body. So, you can tell the different creature and the different function of the creature based on the way that the design of the body is. Just like if you look at a lion or a lion, an animal that has claws, sharp claws, you can tell that they're like carnivore. They got the fangs and they have the claws, and they probably climb trees. And you can look at them if they have feathers and wings. You can tell they probably fly, that type of thing. So the scales, you can look and tell from the anatomy of what's going on. So the physical body is designed to have a certain frequency. Okay, so like as Diallo went into earlier about the caducees and the serpent up on the actual pole, which is nothing but your spinal cord is the pole, the crown chakra is the top of that, and then the wing chakras are the shoulder chakras right there, right? So you have the actual body being designed with the supreme mathematics, the 7 holes in the head, right? Which you know what they are: 2 eyes, 2 nostrils, 2 ears in the mouth, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Right, the nipples 8 and 9. Now we have woman with 13 holes and man with 12. Right, so you have 7 on the head, it's identical. 8 and 9 on the breast, not identical but still identical. The belly button, which is the 10th degree, and that's where the belladonna comes in. That's how we got to talk about that whole thing. The belladonna is actually activated at the navel, right? Because you would think that the navel is not a hole, it's a sealed hole, but really it's not. It's activated to help you with, that's the sacral chakra, help you with the pineal gland and the throat chakra, where you activate the belladonna through the belly button. Okay, so you want to understand that the body is broken down like this. So the 10th hole is, again, the body is identical. So you have the the pairs, right? Everything is in pairs, left and right, except for the mouth. Nipples is in pair. Belly button is not in pair. So the pair of the nose is in the center. So what is the nose connected to? The nose and the mouth have a lot of similar. They have a lot of similar projection together. They mean a lot of the same things. They do a lot of the same things, right? Because they're both. They tell you about the the anatomical design. It lets you know, right? Okay, so Latoya Miller Jameson speak on to spirit guides, galactic family. Remember the words spoken in astral travels. Galactic family, remember the words spoken in astral travel. Oh yeah, okay, yes. Speak to spirit guides. Yes, no doubt, no doubt. Yeah, and so the thing about dreams, the dreams are really, you want the dreams because the dreams are your astral senses communicating with you in the physical realm. So you think, I'm pretty sure you had a dream that's so real that you wake up and you don't know if it's real or not. You know what I mean? You don't know what's real. You don't know where you were real, or you don't know if what you're doing right now is real. You don't know if the dream was so real. I mean, which world is it? I mean, are you in the dream when you wake up, or was that the dream? Like, damn, like it was so real. It was so real, right? Those dreams this is really the illusion. Remember, the part of your soul in the awakened consciousness, that's the illusion. The awakened consciousness is the part of the brain that is logical. This is the part of the energy that's temporary and everything like that. Dreams are necessary. The self-conscious wake state, the conscious wake state, awakened state is temporary. Everything else is dramatic. It is a dream. That's where the reality rests at. If you want to know what's in the sky, you have to look in the night when there is no light. You have to wait until it's sitting still. That's when you find out where it is. It's in a trance. Basically, the illusion is lifted, and you're able to go into the trance state, and that's what the dream is. The dream is an advanced trance state, right? So you want the dream the dream is actually showing you the brainwave activity. The dream is showing you that the brainwave activity has gotten to a certain level that you're able to see, you're able to go to different realms, right? So you have the deep dream, the deep state of sleep, and just the sleep state. And you have the deep sleep and deep sleep, right? So, and each of those are different brainwave activity levels, right? So they say that the orgasmic energy it increases the brainwave activity so much, which is life force energy. It increases the brainwave activity so much that it's able to produce an automatic trance, which is where you lose the ability to know self-awareness. You are not self-aware at that point, and there is no self. It is only sensory absorption, where you absorb all of the sensory pleasures. Right now, the other ways are through anger, fear. Right, you're afraid of something, you're angry, you're excited, you're eating. Right, those are the different ways, the easy ways to go into the trance state. Or somebody make you real mad, somebody piss you off real bad, you can go into a trance when you planning on retaliating, or when you're getting ready to do something, you go to that automatic trance. Same thing when you having the food that you enjoy. Same thing when you are definitely scared of something, or overly excited and things like that. So that's what it is. So the trance thing is like that. You feel yourself coming back from an astral travel as you drop into your vessel. Now, the only thing you want to do, Crystal, you want to make sure you have ways to ground yourself back when you get in. Your foods can do that. Your charged water, you can have your water charged before you go into your astral travel. And when you come back, you deal with that charged water. Um, there's a whole lot of different ways that you can act. And yeah, you can travel with your thought form entities to that place, wherever that place happen to be. All right, so peace and love, y'all. I think I'm about to get up out of here. Hopefully you enjoyed the Cypher. I see y'all riding with me hard. I need to keep it moving. Hopefully I see you guys way down in the deep south for this event. If not, we see you on the live stream feed. We'll be doing this joint every week. Yes, see y'all every week. And we're going to have different shows coming up, so just stay tuned for New Our Soul. Hey, listen, if you guys are not already with Alchemy Temple, make sure you just like the page or whatever. So when I do the posts for Alchemy Temple, you'll get the notification. The posts are always going to be on Alchemy Temple and New Our Soul's page. All right? So you're always going to be able to find them there. All right? So peace and love, y'all. See, everybody's still coming in the building. I'm really literally shutting down the Cypher right now as we speak. But if I don't, we're going to get to going again. But I'm going to end this broadcast. If you guys want to see, if you guys really want the heat, go back and watch the feed. All right, go back and watch the feed from the beginning so you can see Diallo C. All right. Peace and love, y'all. See y'all on the next Cypher. Go out with a little track. Let a song take us away. Tasha Foster in the building, coming in right when we closing it down too.
Power off.
I see y'all showing love. That's what I'm talking about.
Power on.
What's up, Tasha? How you doing? What's going on? Building and coming in right when we closing.
check it, my vibratory, mad high like God, I wish you could roll me, I'm busy like Dizzy. Put your hand in the sky if you with me, warrior ride through every ghetto like MLK Drive, but I'm not Martin Luther. Cause if you test, might shoot you with gypsy dust, so go fist the cuffs. Only so much time left in the cipher. Check the maestro, a night walker, over your head like the knife chakra, more gutter than most. The drummer go 1-2, calling my ancestor. They busy sparkism like chrome left on the dresser. Look at shot, the cops come running, lover in the spell, giving death to the intruder. Take them straight to hell, I'm in the cut like white puffin' on the Buddha. See through the maze and the walls of braille. You say you got nigga, but I can tell. So move along like work in the back. You got some real good green. We getting busy, busy. Looking at the clock like gimme. We getting busy, come and get it with me. Looking at the clock like gimme.
All right, y'all, we're about to close the cipher. I just want to go out with a little bit of vibration. You know, y'all showing love still. I don't even want to end the broadcast. That's what I'm talking about, y'all. Y'all on point. Yep. Yeah, okay, so. Alright, y'all, but I'm about to go ahead and do it. My belly cry out. Yeah, no doubt, that's appreciated, appreciate it. Word is born. Yeah. Well, see, Alchemy Temple. I'm glad you said Alchemy Temple is the collected whole. That's the whole. The whole has to change together. There can't be no change. Like, you know, if I got money and then my whole block is towed back, broke, poor, everybody on food stamps, that doesn't really help. No, you know, everybody needs to be. You know, we all need to be doing good. You know what I'm saying? That's how it used to be back in the day. If I'm doing good, if I got it, you got it, right? If you got it, I got it. You know what I'm saying? So, like, on this energy, we're supposed to be sparking each other off, making sure the next one is strong, building each other up, you know, bigging each other up, making sure that everybody got it. And then you ain't got to help, you know, on every level. Just stay on point yourself, and you'll know what to do when it's time. Make sure you on point. If you on point, you know what I'm saying, everybody around you going to end up catching suit or they going to catch flight. When you on point, everybody around you is going to either catch up and be on suit or they're going to catch flight. Straight up. When you on point, they're going to either be just like you and get like you or they're going to catch flight because they're not on point. And see, somebody who's on point can't be in the same space as people who slack. It's not going to work. And usually the person who's on point is going to take control of the situation and the other person going to feel uncomfortable and they're going to bounce. So the only thing you could do is stay on point. You know what I'm saying? And that's how you demonstrate self-supremacy. You know what I mean? And the people around, see, the thing about it is that by me being supreme and you being supreme, that's dope. That's how it's supposed to be. By you being supreme, that means that the next supreme self can recognize the supreme self in you, and then there's an automatic agreement. There's an automatic, yo, I see you, you see me, and it is what it is. That's Alchemy Temple, because the alchemy is the changing process of the soul, and temple is the collectiveness of the souls. The souls are collected. The souls are collected, making the temple. You know what I'm saying? So that's what the whole concept of Alchemy Temple is the changing process of the individual, the alchemical process that's going to make the individual stronger so that the individual can join with the temple. Because, I mean, hell, man, if I'm strong by myself, what does that mean? If I got $1 million, does it matter if I have $1 million? Do you really give a damn if I have $1 million if I don't never spend any of it with you? Do you really care if I have $1 million if I don't never, you know, do something to, you know, benefit you directly? Otherwise, does it really matter, right? So this energy thing is that you can actually connect with people everywhere. You can do it remotely, right? You learn how to protect your own energy. Guess what, yo? You can then start to protect your kids, yo. You can start to protect your household. You can start to protect, you know, you talking about people breaking in and, like, you talking about, like, you know, gunplay. You talking about, like, car accidents. You talking about all this other stuff. You know, when you learn how to control your own energy, you protect yourself from all types of misfortune, right? When you let your energy be dropped down and when you get whacked and you basically like a flabby, your spirit is ashy and flabby and it don't really do nothing. You just drag it around, lump it around all day. That's whack, right? So then you basically open yourself up for all types of misfortune. Going into a trance is something that you can never really do because you can't even focus and concentrate on anything. So that's what the whole thing behind ADHD is. ADHD is really the science behind ADHD is so that you can't focus. They try to tell you that these children can't focus, right? They're telling you that these children can't focus. Focus, right? Focus means you have to sit still. So they diagnose your children before they're 6 months old. Do you realize that they doctors, so-called doctors, are diagnosing these little boys, these little solar boys, they're diagnosing them with ADHD at 6 months old. You understand that? You understand? So you don't have to, oh shit, y'all trying to gas my head up. You understand that the ADHD is saying that you can't go into a trance. So in order to fight that ADHD, guess what you do? You refocus that, you put the focus on being scattered and make sure that the child can focus. Right? You make sure the child can focus. People have a flabby spirit being metaphysically. You know what I'm saying? All kids got ADHD, right? But when they diagnose you and try to do that and they put the medication on you, then you have to be able to put the focus back on them. You know what I'm saying? When I say flabby spirit, I mean that metaphorically. When I say ashy spirit, you know what I'm saying? I mean that metaphorically. Ashy because it's dingy. It's dull. The colors are dull and dingy. They're not bright and sparkling, and nobody cares about a dull, dingy rainbow. If you see a dull rainbow in the sky, you don't even point it out to anybody. You probably keep it moving. When you see a bright rainbow, you stop what you're doing and be like, "Ooh, look at the rainbow." It's a huge, bright rainbow, right? So a flabby spirit is one who is just, what is a flabby person like? A flabby person is probably somebody who don't really take a lot of time to move around and do a lot of different things, right? Metaphorically. So your spirit, it needs to get strong, it needs to get vibrant, it needs to get healthy, it needs to get powerful, you know what I'm saying? So you gotta like exercise it. You gotta get some of the flab off. If you got a skin and bones with your soul body, your aura is like skin and bones. You don't have any meat. You don't teach it anything. You don't put, it's just skin and bone. You have to put a little muscle on it, right? So the soul body is just like your physical body. You have to keep it clean and you have to actually build it up. Put some lotion on that spirit. Vaccines are putting heavy metals on the brain, which causes autism, and that's another thing right there. I'm glad you said that. See, the autism, that's another thing that's being diagnosed right there. And a lot of the children, when they're very, very young, see, autism is a whole nother thing, right? Autism is a whole nother thing. Spiritual squats. Spiritual squat. See, autism is a whole nother thing because autism is from what I know anyway, autistic children or autistic people are like there's something genius about them at the same time, right? So they have this thing going on or whatever, you know. It's kind of like they can, but they can't at the same time, but they have this genius stroke to them, right? So, but there's limited in certain other functions, right? So, you know, the heavy metal on the brain that causes Alzheimer's also in old age, autism, right, and all of that. So, you know, basically you have to be careful with your children, how your children are being, conceived, you know, how they're being conceived, exactly the emotional expression in which way they're being conceived. You have to be careful in which way they're being born as far as the delivery process. Who's the first person to lay hands on your child? Are you? As the mother, more than likely you're not. So who's the first person to lay hands on your child? Do you think that they don't work rituals and spiritual rituals just like they do in every other form by working the reverse trance state to put you in the trance state to make you buy these foods and these different, we talked about earlier with the yellows and the reds of the fast foods and the different color schemes that are used, to get you to purchase, these products. You think they don't use that in touching your children, right? And so you understand already that the doctor mask and all of that, those are the comedic, deities. You already know. So who's the first person that's touching your children physically with their hands as the child is being delivered. That's something that you have to think about, right? Because they're already cutting the umbilical cord well before it's time. The umbilical cord is still pulsating, and this is changing a lot of the actual energy that's going to actually come for later in life for the child. So they're doing it a lot in childhood to actually futuristically, affect babies, right? So that when they're adults, grown men and women, they don't really have to worry about that. They had, they gave you, same thing with vaccinations. The vaccinations, and I always say definitely get a doula. Definitely get a doula. You definitely want a doula. And I would even go so far as to say, if you can, do a water home birth, a home water birth with a doula. Definitely, a midwife and a doula. You know, that's what you definitely want to do. No hospitals, no medicine. I mean, don't let them hype your head up and gas your head up. I mean, I'm only a man telling you what I've seen, the women deal with, right? They don't have any vaccination going, or not vaccination, sometimes no epidurals, no medicine, no anything, no rips, no tears, no none of that. If you eat properly and you treat your vessel correctly, your body is naturally built to do what it do. So you don't have to, the hospitals, they're not really about, they have you, first of all, in the most awkward position to deliver the baby, which is causing a lot of the problem and a lot of strain on the womb in the first place. So you're not supposed to be naturally in that position. Squatting position is a natural position, being on your knees, like on a doggy style position, that's a natural position. Those are natural positions to actually deliver a child. You know what I'm saying? So, and doing it inside water birth with a midwife and in home where you can have your spiritual setup, where you have your energetic flow going inside your home. You got your feng shui going on. You may have whoever you want in the room. You have it in the science of your home. That's the best science to do, because then that way you can give the secret name out too. You know what I'm saying? See, my thing is like, all the time, in the hospitals, I don't like how they try to take the baby out of your sight as soon as they always want to take the baby away, and I don't really play. That's why I feel like it's not supposed to be that. I don't know what the hell they doing, right? That's just my opinion. But I think you should have, with the home joint, with the home birth and everything, it just seems to work a little bit more. So let me see what I missed in the comments. Squatting position, yeah. Witness a home birth. It was the most beautiful experience you ever had. The home birth. What's she laughing at? Asia. Yeah, so that's what it is. So, the home birth, you get a chance to put those spiritual entities into play. You know what I'm saying? You get to put those. And see, the thing about it is that the labor process is cut down too. It's cut down when you're with those doulas and those midwives, because the way that they treat the vessel, the way they treat you is different. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. And I know they're probably doing that more. They're probably doing that more and everything. But I think the home births are definitely better. Because see, like the thing is, like the hospitals are basically a system, a industry, right? So, the doctors, they want you to take an epidural. The doctors, they want you to take those medicines because they're in cahoots with the industry that's going to actually make the chemical to make you feel better, and they want you to do that. You know. Okay, so you have to have, okay. Yeah. Peace and love, God. Brother Lawrence, what's up, fam? Dog Force Musicians, Pharma. Oh man, don't get me started on that. Pharma. That's the casualties and that Kundalini energy rising up the spine again. Pharmacy. Numbers coming back up again. So y'all not gonna let me out of here. Let me see what's happening. Who wants to come on the mic? think y'all giving me a few ideas for a few different shows though. But I'm getting ready to go ahead and feed my belly, feed my face, and you know, we'll definitely link up again. You know, I might still kind of early. I might go on New Our Soul tonight and do another one. Y'all gave me a couple topics in the comments earlier. Okay, let me read this joint real quick. See what I missed. It was a birthday party. There was 10 of us, Millie's mothers, to welcome the baby. Oh, that's dope. Good night, everyone. Oh, it's Sunday. That's right. Work day for most. I'm at work right now. So, peace and love, everybody. Hopefully, you know, you're still looking for the event. Even if you're not able to make it, you will be looking for that live stream March 23rd. We're going to be doing an event. Me and the God Diallo C. Plus, we have a couple other nice things going on for you at that event. March 23rd, we're going to put the information out. If you're not already with Alchemy Temple, make sure you're with Alchemy Temple. Make sure you are following New Our Soul, which is me, myself, and I. Okay? And if you get at me, I'll make sure I will chop it up with you and put you inside of a private group that we have and everything like that. These meetings are going to move to a different page, okay? This is just, the deeper meetings are going to be in a different page. They're going to be in a private group. So you want to make sure you get with us and we'll let you know what's going on, all right? Yeah, the live stream, yeah, we're going to definitely have a live stream going. So I want everybody to be able to take part of that. Tickets are $25. I will be putting that information out. If you're interested in booking, you can contact booking at alchemytemple.org. And from there, you know, everything is real smooth. It's a lot easier than you might think. And I'll pull up on you with a nice little crew, and we'll do what we do, you know, and everybody can be having exclusive treatment right there. You know what I mean? That's how it goes. So, you know, we have a nice little team and everything. So if you're interested in the classes, alchemytemple.org, everything is over there. You want the handmade jewelry, you want, you know, you want the specialty esoteric products. If there's products that you can't find and you're looking for, you know, contact Alchemy Temple as well. And we have a lot that's not on the website. So if you're looking for certain things, we definitely have it. Okay. Yes, it will be recorded. The event will be recorded, and we will have footage of the event. We'll have a whole thing for you after the event. It's just the live part. People want to get there and get the live joint going. You know, so we will have the live stream. So if you're not able to travel and get there, you'll be able to, you know, do the thing. So crystals, I definitely have crystals on deck. You know, so you can go there. The crystal stuff should be up by tomorrow morning. Sometime tomorrow, you'll be able to see the crystals on the website. The website is alchemytemple.org. Let me put it in the message for you. Yeah. Okay, so can you do a topic on dolls next time? Dolls like the Target dolls that you saw on the website? Okay. Okay, yeah, no doubt. Check it out. Well, we have multiple vendors. That's the vendor in particular for the crystals. One of the vendors for the crystals. Okay. And other things as well besides the crystals. Yeah, okay, so yeah, I can do that with the dolls. I can hook that up. You know, I can definitely hook that up with the dolls. I can do that because that's a sympathetic magic. And I know a lot of people have been asking me about that, so I'll do a video on that one. Okay. Okay, let me see. I'm just going to make sure I haven't missed anything. Alright, so you'll be able to catch the video. I'm going to leave it up. You'll be able to catch the video, go back in and eat. My brethren, man, he was going in there dropping bread, going in there and eat real good. you know, and you know, check games. So that's what's up. So peace and love, everyone. I'm up out of here, and I'll see y'all in the Astro.